Well, good evening, fellow explorers. Welcome to another edition of Exploring the Matrix. Ooh, I know that's exciting. Um, Hello, Jennifer, my sister. How are
Hello.
you?
Hello, how are you? 1 minute. I just had a little glitch thing going on. I'm here.
She's stuck in
Hello.
the ether.
Yes, stuck in the ether. I don't even like it was it's always something like last minute, right? That happens. 1 minute. I'm still with you, okay? Just don't
I like
mind me.
that. I like
I
that phonograph in the background there.
Oh, thank you. That's very special. I was telling a story about that. My grandfather worked at RCA, so you know, a lot of these things, how we've been talking about how it sounds so familiar. It's like a nostalgia we're going through, some of us.
Yep.
And that's part of it is I'm reconnecting with things like that. My grandfather, he was an electrical engineer. And
Hmm.
so he worked with radio, televisions, and he fixed them for people. I forgot. I told a story about him fixing TVs, but he also fixed radios too. So neighbors would bring their, you know,
Yeah.
yeah, their things, and I would watch him. He had a little workshop in the basement, and I
His little
remember,
cobbler tools.
yeah. Don't you love it? It's like I know you experienced that in Cleveland, right? Lots of people that
RCA's
serve.
big here when I was a kid. My dad was a radio guy in the army. And
Oh,
hello, KC, how are you? Um,
hey there.
he was so he had a lot of radio and electronics books like from the 50s and
Okay,
60s and stuff on the
nice.
bookshelf.
Mhm.
And we had an RCA console, with the little dog staring into the phonograph, how it was like facing the phonograph. Do you
Yeah,
do you remember the mascot?
yeah, he's right here on my, do you
Is
see
he?
him?
Oh yeah, up on the top there.
He's right here.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that was like instant like recognition, like Kleenex or something, like a brand that you recognized immediately when you saw the phonograph with the dog just sitting there like looking back at it. And it's
Yes.
funny that you should have that phonograph because
Oh, yeah.
well, no, it's just I've been a big kick. I know if you haven't followed Jennifer's videos, she's been on a ether, steam, all kinds of she's been just like cranking them out, man. And
Something's happening.
that the Gaddafi thing, holy cow, that was. I'm
Isn't that
glad you covered that because I always felt the same about Mr. Gaddafi that
crazy? Mhm.
because he was not participating in with the central bankers and playing ball and stuff like that and was trying to keep Libya prosperous that he was singled out and targeted like we can't have this guy going on like this. He's giving us he's going to make his currency worth more than ours. We can't have that. And
Exactly, because his is backed by
by
real.
something, yeah, it's backed by something, not the ether. It's not backed by the ether.
No.
So Jennifer's been she's always down the rabbit holes, but
Oh,
so I sent her text a couple days ago. I think all it said was "damn girl" or something to that effect. Because every time I turn on YouTube or something, there's another Jennifer Eason video. That
really? Oh, it's just like I had to like I have to balance myself because that's how I am with things. I can be extreme. I'm sure you're not surprised, right? So I'm like, okay, balance it out. Don't because you know what it is. I've been collecting things,
mm, not
especially.
hoarding. There's a difference.
Right. Well, I hoard images. I think I could probably say people
Well,
hoard things. I hoard images but you're really organized, John. You put yours in files. I'm too embarrassed to tell you how I keep all my images. I'm not gonna say I'll tell you guys another time, but people are gonna cringe so hard. But anyway, I I just love to write. I write everything and I have
mm.
books and I started really when the pandemic came in. Yeah.
It's like
So Oh yeah, you're like
See,
that.
like all the little,
There
like
you
just
go.
all the.
There you go. Exactly. So that's why we like resonate because yeah, my notebooks are I have tons of them in a storage room in here, like out in the like they're piled, okay? I can't imagine I just write. I go through notebook after notebook after notebook. So I and I write in pencil. I went totally what do you call this? Analog. Look,
There you
John,
go.
do you like this? These were gifts.
Nice.
Look
Is
at
that
the
a?
eraser. Is that
That's good.
amazing?
I've never seen an eraser flat like that.
I know. This is a special pencil. It's called a Blackwing.
Blackwing. Ooh, that sounds like you're like if you were in school and you had back when we actually had pencil sharpeners and stuff like that. If you, I can imagine like if you're trying to impress your friends, like I got a Blackwing,
Exactly.
and they just
So
have a
I have
regular old number two.
yes, I got a gift of black wings and I you should see I've gone down. I will use them till I can't use them anymore because they're so special. But I write with pencil and I'm just write. So I'm wearing down pencils. That shows you that I'm really going through these books. So
I
when
was
I
just,
have all these video ideas, it's coming from all of this stuff I've been collecting.
well, I mean, as long I'm the same way. As long as you know where it's at, that's all that matters. I just coming, having self-taught a lot of stuff with, technology and
Mhm.
creative stuff. I just I found it over time with pictures and media files and stuff. I'm not always the best at it, but lately I've found that if I put some keywords in it or something, so if I
Mhm.
search my computer, at least it'll pop up. I may not remember what folder it's in, but I at least I
Yeah.
remember they probably put a keyword or something in the
Yeah.
name.
I use keywords, at least I do that with my but I need a better like storage method because it's kind of chaotic.
Yeah,
But
it gets that way, especially, well, I'm sure over the last year and a half or so, it's probably like me. I actually had to buy an external, like a 10 terabyte hard drive just
wow.
to back stuff up to because I save all the videos that I do,
Mhm.
and I'm constantly doing all kinds of other creative endeavors like 3D characters and
Right.
like creating like fairies and things like that. Like I just dropped my first set of or collection of NFTs this last week,
Oh,
and
congratulations. That's awesome.
nobody's bought any, so it's not. But it's at least I did it. At least
Yes.
it's out there in the world,
That's
and
great.
then I
Wow.
create all these little like video things. So I use up a lot of space
Mhm.
on my hard
Oh,
drive, and it's like, I need a better way to do this
mhm.
because I can't rely on the fact that I'm going to always have something on the interwebs like on YouTube or whatever. Like I want to have the original still
Yeah.
just in case.
Mhm.
And
Smart.
but it is what it is.
Mhm.
But man, I tell you, I every week since we started doing the show,
Mhm.
every week it's just been like a roller coaster of oh my god, I can't believe this. Oh my god, I can't,
Right.
oh my god, oh my
It's
god. It's like,
amazing.
oh my god. Like
It's so amazing.
as soon as you started talking about like steampunk and stuff like that a couple episodes ago or whatever,
Mhm.
it's like every time I see something, it's like my little steampunk gears start moving, and I keep finding steampunky kind of stuff. Like I found,
Yes.
I never even knew these existed till actually this morning.
What?
Let's see. Hold on, let's give.
It's
Like
everywhere now, right? When you start looking. Casey, do you see a lot of punk stuff?
a steam powered elevator.
Oh my gosh, that's beautiful. That's so beautiful.
I don't remember where this was, but a steam powered elevator. Come on.
I've seen that, but I didn't know it was steam powered. I've seen that somewhere. Where have I see this is what this stuff does to you. You see it and you're like, where did I see that? Was it in a movie? Was it somewhere where I traveled? Where have I seen that?
Yeah, it's
That
And
is exquisite.
yeah, I mean, and I'm sure this was like pre 20th century, and
It was, it was, John. Look at that work.
I mean, look at people.
Wow.
It's like Santa's elves were alive in the world. Like all this craftsmanship and stuff. Just you
That's
could tell people
amazing.
cared about this. I mean, it was like
The
when I saw
detail.
that. Also, this too, I came across recently.
Oh, wow.
This
Yeah.
is in St. Petersburg, Russia, or
Oh,
what was St. Petersburg, or what? Is it still St. Petersburg? I don't know.
it might still be called that. I know, yeah. I know they changed a lot of the city names, but I think it's still called St. Petersburg. Don't fact check me, please.
This was very, to me, Jules Vernish / steampunkish / ether, because
Mhm.
it has this clear globe on the top with copper, and it has these glass panels with these intricate
Oh,
copper banding things going on here. And
that is amazing. You know that's lead. They used a lot of lead too in
yeah, I
the
would say these middle things look like lead pieces here, like these
wow, and that glass
strips.
is probably so heavy. Can you imagine the weight?
But the function of it led me to believe, like, the collecting of the ether, the free energy, because it
Mhm.
led me to believe this kind of looks like it would be a beacon, like there would be a light on the top of this,
Oh,
like
yeah,
it
I see
was.
what you're saying. Yeah, you know what? I think you're right because some of the pictures of the World's Fairs, they show, and this is amazing, at night. They
Mhm.
show the lights that and some of the buildings had lights, I think, at the top like that. But then you know what? Okay, I just went down a and this happens. Okay, check out what I just said, John. I saw a picture of a World's Fair taken at nighttime. So that means the photographer took that picture at night.
Right.
See, that's the thing that starts to like blow my mind when I start really thinking about it. I'm like, wait a minute. I saw a night shot back in the 1800s. So that means what does that mean, John? What is
Well,
it?
like, if for being a photographer myself, I
Uh-huh.
think you guys that have followed me know that. Um, One of the things with night photography, you have to have super long exposures to get clear images.
Mhm.
So if there's any movement at all in night photography, and if it's a slow shutter speed, like if they have to leave it open for any length of time, you're going to get blurring in the movement. Like, so if there's people walking down the street or
Mhm.
whatever the case is, carriages, whatever, they would be blurred. They didn't have the ability to stop, or to have what we have today with, like, changing the ISO and that kind of stuff to
Mhm.
allow more light in to be able to close the shutter faster. And speaking of which, I saw, it wasn't a nighttime thing, but it was a video somebody had colorized
Mhm.
from 1906, I think it was. It was right after the great, like, San Francisco earthquake.
Mm.
And they went around, it was like 50 minutes. Hey, Sarah. Um, it was like 50 minutes of, like, footage from all over the city,
Mhm.
and, like, what was, like, the life that was happening post earthquake. I didn't realize, like, 3,000 people died.
Really?
Um,
In San
yeah,
Francisco? Oh,
yeah,
wow. I didn't realize that either. Wow.
and,
That was a really big one, I know. That one, well, they call that the big one, right? They haven't had
I
one.
believe that was the big one. The one, like, if you ever watched the movie, Lost Boys with Kiefer Sutherland, and, they mentioned, because there are little hideouts, like, below the fault line, and they mentioned the big one, and, like, the hotel that they live in is underground because if it went underground after the big one.
Oh,
So, but yeah,
interesting.
it's
Interesting.
really interesting to me because
Mhm.
the what was there? Hold on, I have a picture of something here. And I found some pictures from this guy named Shem Jacobs.
Mhm.
Do you know who Shem Jacobs is? You ever heard that name?
I don't think so.
I
Not
didn't hear his name until
person.
recently.
Okay, yeah, it doesn't ring a bell, but it might, if I see his work, I might have seen something.
He's like, you could tell by his images, he's very much into exposing the whole mud flood thing.
Okay.
Well, just so everybody knows, this is going to be a wild show. We're going to be going all over all kinds of things, including Jennifer's electric chargers for cars back in the 1800s. Yeah, there you go. Is that the famous popcorn, or is that a different one?
It's Popcornopolis, and it does look steampunky. Look at the font.
It does. Like an old theater font or something.
That's right. I'm ready. Okay. So it's going to be crazy. Get your popcorn, everybody.
We're going to talk about green kids. We're going to be talking about cosmic eggs. We're going to be talking about the battery, 1908 battery charger, electric car, whatever kind of thing.
Oh, yay, fun. Oh my God.
And I'm really obsessed with the whole idea of compressed time, like hidden time, where they've taken away or added things time to history.
Right. Okay.
Because I keep, no matter what I'm looking at, if it involves pre-20th century, some of the stuff only makes sense if you add in the possibility that someone took away time or someone added time to make something make sense. Okay. And so if it doesn't make sense to me, that's usually the rabbit hole I go down. And I usually find out that, yeah, you know, again, we've talked about this before. Think about how much you can hide in a single lifetime, let alone 300 years or 500 years, or add an extra 1,000 years or take away an extra 1,000 years, whatever it is.
Oh yeah, you can. I mean, look at what they're doing, just for instance, with this January 6th narrative. Just look at what they're doing. They don't care. They're not speaking to people who seek truth anymore. They are literally saying that they are taking Hollywood producers to produce this January 6th, whatever, another hearing.
Shenanigans.
And they are saying that they're not doing it for people who are looking for news. They're doing it for people who are looking at, who are turning their TV on to find the Masked Singer. This is the level that they
Where's Johnny Depp at? He's not. What else can I watch?
Yeah, this is who they're speaking to. So they're not speaking to you and me and anybody in the chat. They don't care about us anymore.
Kim Kardashian ain't on anymore.
What's that?
They're looking for Kim Kardashian and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, this is where it's gone. So this is where it's like the separating of people, because they literally don't care about what we think.
No, absolutely not.
They're
hold on, you started bad mouthing them, and now you're breaking up.
By censoring us. Oh, something happened. Are you still there? Can you hear me,
just kind of, you went in and out briefly. It was like a Jim Carrey skit. We were hearing every third word or whatever, but so you start talking bad about them, and they come after you right away.
Look at that. Yeah, it happens. Well, it's like, I probably said, it's probably picking up sensitive, like Jan. I'm learning.
Yeah.
So Jan, you know the number.
You almost have to cough it out.
Yeah. Well, I'm calling it the insucceration. I don't know. I spelled it that way on somebody. So I said that. What? 1-6. I'll just say 1-6. So 1-6 hearing, they said that I have to repeat it. I don't know when I went out. They got a Hollywood producer. This is mainstream. This is on MSNBC. So they're like, oh yeah, we got a Hollywood producer, and we're looking for people who watch The Masked Singer. And so basically they've censored our voices away. They feel they put us in the outer zone of society, because you're either canceled, you're shadow banned, you're on another alternative platform where you just become you can literally become depersoned in this system. Now we see how it can happen, and they push their people up the algorithm. So that's all this being offered to the normies, is they come on and they just see clown show, clown world, and that's what they Like some of them really think that's reality. They don't know what we're saying over here. They have no
Yep.
idea. They don't ever get to see what and hear what we're doing. And so when you think about it, if they're going to keep pushing this 1/6 narrative, knowing that it's a complete fabrication, if you repeat it enough and you do a production, so you give visuals, then it basically, and nobody cares. So what they're going to do is they're going to write it up as a historical event and they're going to give their narrative spin. Now I see that I said all that, John. I went all the way around the corner to say that what you're saying, I see now how they can change history
Mhm.
by a live and doing a production. And then you know what? Then they get their own writers. Do you see how this is set up?
Oh
They
yeah.
get writers to write novels. They get firsthand accounts from people who were at the 1/6. Oh, I was so scared.
Right.
And they were there when Trump said,
Like
get them. And so
like
that'll be the
AOC.
yeah. And so people will have books, and that book, when you go into Barnes and Noble, will be the front book.
Mhm.
1/6, one of the survivors, and they'll do
Right,
it.
yeah.
You see what I'm saying? They'll do it like the 911 thing. And they'll have every year they could do a production on TV and have victims. Oh, and it was terrible. And then that is now the truth. Okay. I
Mhm.
see how they've done it now. So like you're saying, if you give them 300 years, can you imagine how they can memory hold things? You see how they
They can
scrub.
obliterate an entire culture in 300 years.
I mean, they could Wikipedia, you can do a Wikipedia search on something, read it, the next day it's been edited.
I've had that happen. I don't know where I did with it. I don't know what keywords I use, but a lot of times I'll screenshot something that I think is a controversial thing. And I'll like Merriam-Webster too. I'll do the same thing, like when they change definitions of
Mhm.
vaccines and stuff like that. And so I have images of that, like before and after,
Mhm.
and images of a previous Wikipedia post on for like Heels Up Harris, for example.
Right.
Before she was going to run for president,
Mhm.
she had all the stuff on there, but all like the way she would, you know, like her outlook on like the black community and all this other stuff, and how she felt about crime and that kind of thing. And then they just totally eliminated it off of every possible thing you could search for on either Wikipedia or anywhere else. They just
Yep.
couldn't find it anymore. But the old interwebs never forgets.
Right.
Thank God there's a lot of archive sites that archive websites on a regular basis.
Yeah,
And
that's good. But when you think about the people that don't know, now I see how they can stay in an
mhm,
echo chamber and they won't see another. At least when I remember, we would have more of a balance. You could have a counterbalancing opinion and you could read both articles. It seemed to me when I was growing up, that was how it was. I could read, okay, you think this, and then you're saying this. So let me read both of what the two people are saying. And then I'm going to come up with what I think is going on from my opinion of it.
right.
You you can't do that. When was the last time you could do that?
Yeah, we're just seeing it in real time now. I think that's part of
Yes,
this whole great awakening is
yes.
having the
That's what I
luxury of seeing it happen and
yes, we're
knowing
viewers now.
knowing the playbook and
Yep,
knowing,
that's a good point. We are like watching a crime. It's a crime drama, and we're watching it in real time. It's unfolding. All the bad guys are doing the bad guy things that they
right,
do. I mean, the good guys and what they're doing, it just doesn't look like it's enough, right? It just looks
right.
like the bad guys are running amok. But in all good stories, it doesn't end that way. Does it? Never will you
Never.
go to any movie and the bad guy wins and the bad guy runs off into the sunset. Does that ever happen? When?
That's true, Sarah. Was there really a balance or was it just a perception of balance?
Thank you, Sarah. And
Perception
that's
is
real.
reality. That is one
Yeah.
thing that I used to, uh, I was a trainer for a long time, but one of the things that I would constantly try to get people to understand is doesn't matter whether it's true or not. Perception is reality.
Mhm.
And like
Yeah.
coming from a sales career and owning my own businesses and that kind of stuff, when you're training a sales staff, a
Mhm.
lot of time, a lot of times if they don't have great people skills, it's trying to at least get them on the same page with the client. It's like if you create a perception of something in somebody's mind often enough and you're the expert, then that perception becomes a reality to that person.
Absolutely.
And or it's like what they do with gaslighting and stuff. It's like the
Yes.
perception is, oh my God, they're saying it every night. They're saying it, like every station's saying it, every commentator's saying it. So the perception is it's got to be true, even though it's a flat out patent
Yeah,
lie.
exactly. Yeah.
So yes, Sarah, that is absolutely
Yeah, I like that you said that, Sarah, because that's the other aspect of waking up is if you've always liked to seek information and truth, you've always dug, and then
Mhm.
you're thinking, okay, if you're like a person that likes to watch a debate, watch and listen to a debate, and you like to see two good points. Like I used to love to see or listen to debates. I was on a debate team. And I love that,
Mhm.
you can reason with people. Like you go into a barber shop and go into a beauty shop, and the people they do still have organic conversations about opinions, and you'll have a split, and then you'll have maybe some people in the middle. But I
Mhm.
like the engagement. You know what I'm saying? Like if people can do it without the name calling and getting in your feelings about it. But you know what I'm saying? Just healthy
Yeah.
debate. You don't have to agree with people. Like I love that. Like we can still sit down and break bread. I don't You believe in UFOs and aliens. That's okay. I call them demons, but why are we going to lose our friendship over it?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I love it. I like having different opinions. And I like other people having different opinions.
Mhm.
As long as they're not trying to force it on me and make me feel like I'm a loser because I don't believe the same thing.
Mhm.
Um, which is kind of what's happening right now. Like if like it's they're well to you go use the race card about every 5 seconds, and then now you got this whole anyway. They've really it's polarized a lot of stuff and a lot of people. And
Oh, yeah. Are
I
they wait
remember,
a minute. I'm not trying to be funny, everybody, because John, I've been down in my research so deep. What are they doing with the race card these days? What's going on? Because I don't know, everyone. What's going on? Are they still using that tired, worn out race car? Like, I think they're past the race card, aren't they? I don't think
well,
it's like,
it still
are they
comes
using
up.
it? You
Joy
know what? I'm gonna tell
Joy
you.
Behar used it the other day.
I'm gonna tell you. Okay, let's just observe what you just said. You said Joy Behar used it.
I know.
What's her race? See, this is my point. The race card is being used by Joy Behar. That's
Yeah.
my point. The tool of the anti-weak that kind of. I'm just saying, okay. The race card at this point, I see it. It has gone. They have. I don't even like to use the term beating a dead horse, but the race cart is no more blood in that turnip. Can I say that? No, it's nothing.
Well,
You can't get
it's
anything out of it. It's
yes.
been exhausted. And that's what I'm finding. We're in the time of the exhausting of even their playbook. They
Yes.
only get like the George Floyd, that was it. That was their grand, like, this is it, everybody.
Yeah,
Make
people never questioned that he was in a 5'4" coffin either. The dude was a giant.
it's you know what? Nobody cares. Have you noticed that?
I
Black
know,
people don't care anymore about him.
except
They
for Obama.
they went so hard with the George Floyd thing that I don't know any black people that care. I think that they just don't care. And now I'm gonna tell you honestly, I don't think they can use the race card anymore because guess what's currently going on and raging? The gender war.
Yep.
So you have in the Black community, everybody, just so you, because I know that these spaces might not be spaces that you're in, but I'm still in the Black sphere. So I keep my ear to the Black sphere. So what's happening in the Black sphere, in a corner of it, I'll say, there is a gender divide right now. Black women and Black men are not getting along very well. And that's the perception. I don't know in actuality, but I think that it is something, it's like an AI type of thing that, and they have agents that they have placed on YouTube and they have major views and they do a lot of like the divide. It's the same playbook. So they're doing it now. So I don't think with the way that the relationships are going with the gender, if they tried another George Floyd, like, okay, a so-called white cop killed a Black guy, guess what? The Black women will be celebrating possibly.
Right.
Not even kidding. That's how bad it is. The conversations that are going on, they will celebrate it. So you can't get anything out of it anymore. Do you see what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
If you don't have Black women on board with it, out there protesting a Black body being unalived, you won't have the momentum for your psyop. So Black women have divested from it. So they can't, that's what I'm telling you all. I analyze this stuff. They can't do another race psyop anymore. They played it out. It's done. Because you don't have the unification in the Black community. That's how quickly it's like fractured. So we're going to a gender thing. It's my opinion. Does it sound cuckoo, or can you see what I'm saying?
No, I know exactly what you're saying. And I've got something here that I want to show since we're talking about it. See, we're talking about everything on the show, mostly. And there's for the last year and a half, the race card and the white privilege card were being used hand in hand. Like you could actually kind of flip one for the other. If they weren't using the race card, then they were using the white privilege card because it seemed to pick up a little more angst or a little more because you could still be sort of Black, but still use the white white privilege card.
Yeah, the white. Yeah, because their narratives have just collapsed on themselves. Where
this is what's coming next.
I could be a white supremacist as a so-called Black person.
Right.
There are white supremacist Black people. So I'm just saying, we're up next. There you go. There. That's where
that's the new race card right there.
That's it. And the AI will be the new, like they'll be the victims. The AI, the robots are gonna, it's just like Bicentennial Man. Remember that with Robin?
Yes.
Hey Karen. Yay.
You're not cuckoo.
So okay, so Bicentennial.
Your fiddly bits are in order.
What's that?
Your fiddly bits are in order.
Fiddly bits, okay. Oh, I wanted to write that down. I like that, fiddly bits. I forgot it because I have some stuff growing, okay, everybody, and it's growing in like a fiddle. Don't you love the fiddle faddles? You know what I'm saying? Growing in a little. What is that called? Does anybody know what I'm talking about?
I like the word fiddle faddle though. Wasn't that like popcorn and caramel and nuts and stuff like that? They turned
it into a treat. But yeah, I think they grow and I think people eat them. I think you can saute them and stuff. I'll follow up. Let's see.
Sarah's asking if you want to open up comments on your Telegram.
Oh, really? You know what, Sarah, I will consider anything because you know what? I don't like Telegram is something I'm not as like
it's very bot friendly, meaning that if you open up comments, chances are you may get a bot or two every once in a while. But
Oh, really? Okay, I have to learn it because when I got on Telegram, it took me so long to post. I opened my thing up and I just didn't learn it as fast. So I don't spend a lot of time on it lately, but I can post on it. I just drop whatever I'm doing. I'll make sure I drop it on my Telegram. But yeah, I'm not as yeah, you just helped me how to do what you're saying.
I'll show you how to do it.
Okay, all right. John will
I'll-
show you. John
yeah.
will show you how to do it.
Yeah,
I'm
we'll get you the ability to comment, because sometimes I want to comment on Jennifer's videos too, or the post
really?
that she
Oh
makes.
gosh, you should have told me, John. Because like I said, the Telegram thing took me a minute. I was sort of a slow adopter to the Telegram thing. So, but yeah, I'll do whatever.
I don't have bots yet, Sarah. I have shills, but I don't have bots. Which to me, shills I can get rid of, because unless you're in China and you've got your 1,000 phones tied together, and that's actually how they defeat people and like run down narratives and things like that, is with these bot farms. And
true.
well, actually, since we're on that subject, I've got hundreds of pictures, but I'll see if I can pull one up really quick. But imagine 100 people in a building, each one in control of about 150 to 200 devices, all with different account names, posting exactly the same response that they want to beat down. Like if, let's say, somebody has a legit response to something, and then it's going against the narrative, the bot farm guys come in and gals come into action, and then and that's how a lot of these people, like the resident right now, has all these followers, because these people are paid to follow people, and that's how they get
good. This is good that you're showing it, because people didn't know how it looks. This is good too.
Well, there's
because when you think about it, your bot farm or whatever the farm, you don't really conceptualize it unless you see it. Like
here's a good example. This is a small example, but this is exactly the same post by 5 different accounts. And like this one's Change UK. It's always, and a lot of them are that kind of thing. It's like they're always some kind of cause or whatever.
Yeah.
Jude, Alex, Pooh, Doctor of Monero, Scott Dykes, but they have the exact same wording.
Okay, gotcha. All right.
Literally.
Now, it's interesting because I know that a lot of the farms are overseas, and I wonder how they can get the cultural, like the
nuances, the language.
Because you know how you've heard the term English.
Yeah.
My daughter and I, we would look at English sites. That was our favorite thing, because she was so into Asian culture and stuff. So she would look at the English. Remember they used to have the people of Walmart. Did anybody watch?
Yes, I love that website. I used to go on that site all the time whenever I needed a good
that was when the websites that's where you used to go, because it wasn't a Facebook and Instagram then. So it was websites like people of Walmart. I would go for a good laugh. They were fabulous. And then they had, okay.
This is exactly what Elon Musk is exposing right now.
That is so good. I love that he's doing that. It's really coming. The wheels are coming off. Don't you feel?
Yeah, he doesn't have to buy Twitter. He's in the process of destroying Twitter. Even if he doesn't buy Twitter, all of this stuff, he's kind of holding him in limbo, because they can't ban him because he's buying the company possibly, so he's allowed to red pill like nobody's business. Wow. And he's come right out and said, I'm not going to pay this kind of money for all these, almost up to 50% of the accounts are bots.
That is so, you know what I'm going to tell
you. These are all this, again, same message, all different accounts.
Whoa. This level of exposure is so delicious, isn't it?
And there's people that pay big money, politicians like overseas and other countries that
Yeah.
pay these bot farms. Like these are legit businesses, like in China,
Oh, yeah.
and in Thailand and stuff like that. They're
Right.
legit businesses. They
Yeah.
make big money because these
Right.
politicians and even businesses that want to grow their business will
Mhm.
pay for all these likes and all these
Yes.
subscriptions and followers and that kind of stuff.
And
You know, on
a blue check
Instagram and
with a
Twitter
check
and
mark, right? The blue, you're verified. You have to
yes.
pay to be verified, authoritative, you know?
So I'm play a
Whoa.
little video real quick.
Oh, this is so good.
This is our public opinion. These are quick farms. Bought and paid for. Likes, shares, retweets. Followers. Not only are we censored, this is how big these rooms can be. So just think about it for a little bit, right? This is what they're doing to us.
Oh no, it's right. That was the perfect song.
That's right when you got the popcorn out too.
It's amazing. But you know, I remember a few years ago, somebody it might have been a commercial. You know, you hit the commercial from YouTube.
Mhm.
Someone was telling you how you could set up a business and have a bot farm business. Like
Yeah.
if you just did it with your family. It was like early in the sort of botting. They were like, yeah, you just get a whole bunch of like iPads and you just watch things
Yes.
and you hit it. And it made
Casey,
it
yes.
sound very
Casey,
innocent, right? They made it
Casey
sound,
hit it too. Even reviews for stores and products and things like that.
oh yes, yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Nothing is real. This is such a fake. Oh my God. I had to break out the popcorn. This is so
I know. I forget. I left my water upstairs. At some point, I'm going to go up and get it. So,
wow.
but yes, the veil is very thin. We live on that real, like, as what's his name? We should have got him for this show. I can't believe you got him for your show. But anyway, what's it?
What?
The chronological dude, the one that was in prison.
Oh, Jason. Yeah.
Yes.
I'll keep you posted on that. If you want him to do this one, why not? That would be
Well,
awesome.
no. I mean, I don't want to like drag him from show to show. We'll just have everybody go to your show.
Really cool. He's really cool.
But like he said, we live on a very thin skin.
That's right.
And between the tallest peak and the lowest valley in the ocean, there's a total of 12 miles. And that's not a very big distance for our realm, so to speak. That, you know, like we live on this little, you know, thin slice of, you know, but the veil over reality and the veil over history and the veil over, it's thin. It's so thin it can be punctured very easily, but people don't do it because they don't know it's there. You don't have to put it away.
No, I wanted the women to laugh. Look at what I used my.
Oh, the hair clip.
You do like this is kind of ghetto, but
I do. I use the same. I don't use hair clips, but I use clips that look like that are like metal. I don't know what they're for, but they're long like that, and they look like dinosaur or duck bills or whatever. They just kind of. Yeah, I'm constantly. We've got a whole drawer full of them because we're constantly opening stuff, and then people are forgetting about it and throw it in the closet or whatever, and then it's clipped up somewhere behind something. And
I break the ones that are the official ones, so I kind of like they're broken. So then I'm like, what do I do?
Yeah.
I'll use it.
The ones from the grocery store break easy. I don't know what it is.
So that's the thing with anything. Okay, I'm going on a mini rant, but I'm just making a comment. When I grew up, when we were growing up, things had quality to them. They didn't just break that easily. I mean, it took a long time for things to wear out and break.
Even cigarettes had quality, and I hate to say that, but no, like everything they made had some kind of, like, it was like
everything had quality,
craftsmanship to it.
Yes, the taste,
pride,
of food, everything about, like, I'm a food. I'm now a food snob. Can you imagine? I'm somebody who likes to read. Okay, this is why I got this product, because it has 3 ingredients listed. It has popcorn, coconut oil, and salt. That's it. And you know what? You don't need a chemistry degree to read the ingredients. That's all I'm asking. I don't think I want that much. Why am I called a food snob?
I love those two, the ones that are like in the cakes, or not the cakes, but they're, gosh, what are they called? Like they're kettle corn, and they make them, they look like tortilla chips, but they're made of popcorn. Gosh, I have a bag of them upstairs. I can't remember. I like the taste of them. They're like, especially the kettle corn. I love the kettle corn.
Nice.
But I'm same way. I'm constantly, I go off the wagon once in a while, and I have my SpaghettiOs or my raviolis or whatever, or my beefaroni, or that kind of thing. But most of the time, I pay attention to what's in what I'm eating.
That's good.
And I like when you're saying you're having one of those days kind of thing. Ask Julie. I was having one of those kind of days today. It's like, the older I get, the more pissed off I get that things should just effing work the way they're supposed to work.
That's what I say all the time. I'm always I'm always at a low boil when I go out in public. That's why I don't want to go out that much. I don't know if you're feeling the same way. I can't do clown world because I will say things. I say it in a really it's a shady way. I do it, but it's my natural way of saying it. I can't be anything but me. But I'm just saying, when I'm out there, it's so hard because
I'm talking like products and stuff like that too. It's like today was one of those perfect storms. I felt like Michael Douglas in that movie Falling Down. If you ever saw that movie Falling Down.
It sounds familiar. Like I've seen it.
He's like a postal worker or something. I mean, maybe not a postal worker, but
postal in the movie.
Things just kept happening over that, just nothing was going right and whatever. And it just he just snapped like a twig and started shooting people,
Oh, that must be where they got the term going postal. No,
I think they were using that idea of going postal. But yes, postal. It's like every especially over the last couple years. But like I said, as I've gotten older, I've kind of, it's like, if I were to make something or draw something or create something digitally or whatever, I'm kind of a perfectionist. I don't want people to get a bad product, or I want them to be happy with it. I want them to recommend me in the future, and remember my name and that kind of stuff. And it seems like even making a call to Home Depot or it's 30 minutes to an hour out of your life to maybe get an answer about something. And you might have to start the process all over again with somebody else.
True.
And like today we were having some appliances delivered and stuff. And it's of course, nothing's, even though they tell you this is going to happen, so your expectation up front is X, Y, and Z, but only X happens on the delivery. And it's suddenly it's not my job, or that's just how it is. I hear that all the time. It's that's just how they make it, or that's just how it is. Or I bought it really expensive, and I don't usually use electric shavers and stuff, but around Christmas time, I bought myself I thought a nice one. Within a month, it broke. There was a clip or something on there that broke, and it's not a replaceable thing. You have to buy a whole new one.
That's how it is. It's before you had to do major, almost trying to break something. Right. And when I'm in the store, the supermarket, you guys, I told this story one day, John, and I see Sarah, you said you're in nutrition, so okay. So I'm going down the aisle, and I'm just looking for good oil. They have olive oil mixed with canola oil. And I'm I stop in the aisle, and I'm almost ready to scream, but I have to, keep your temper down, because I take it as an offense. And I wanted to kick, one day I wanted to kick all the products off of the aisle. I thought in my mind, I did it. And when I was looking for bread one day and I was reading the label, which I do, and you need a chemistry degree to understand everything that's in the bread. I'm looking for bread. Bread just has 3 or 4 ingredients, doesn't it? Not
You
a
would think.
reset. And so I envision myself taking all the bread off of the aisle and I was stomping it like grapes. I was about to do that. I was about to lose it. It was a thin line between me really executing my thoughts. And I would have been in jail. Right. And I would have been, they probably would have had me on World Star Hip Hop or all of those blogs, and she would have been the crazy lady.
You would have been on Vice.
I would have been on I probably would have made it on a lot of different sites and they would have edited me being super cray cray. So, I stopped myself. I had self-control that day. But I'm just saying these are the things that I want to do because I remember quality. That's all I'm asking. Why am I like, I'm a food snob, I'm a food Nazi, I'm bougie, I'm all these things. Oh, you like expensive things. No, I just like bread to have 4 ingredients. Is that called expensive?
I just don't want to eat things that'll shorten my lifespan.
I thought it was cheaper to go with stuff that just
and make me glow.
It comes out of nature, but you want stuff that's coming out of a processing chemistry lab.
Speaking of which, thanks for the segue. That was awesome. No, I'm serious because this ties in with what you're saying, and we've talked about this before.
Casey.
I know.
I would have been viral.
Yeah.
Let's see. What does it say? Oh,
if you have questioned if even shoes are a conspiracy to keep the masses from being properly grounded, you are way the F down the rabbit hole.
Oh, yeah.
Human body is a battery charged by electrons. Electrons are absorbed in processed form of earth, electric food, or in the more subtle manner directly via earth ether. There's your ether. Air, breathwork, fire, sun, water, rubber soles, and beds disconnect us from Earth's nourishment or grounding.
I know Karen loves this.
Understand sources that charge your battery and focus more on subtle energies as they are pure. So I kind of tend to believe that,
I do too. My grandfather,
as far as everybody when I was a kid, everybody ran around barefoot.
Yeah,
like even the adults are barefoot. Everybody was happier back then too. I'm telling you.
My grandfather is the only one in my family. He was like, we don't know where he's from. Okay. I think he's a mud flood orphan. I really do. I think he's from orphanage. Yeah, but he showed up. He's he was a mysterious orphan. So anyway, he never wore shoes hardly. I mean, he worked at RCA. He would get all dressed up for work, but his real person, he carried around that book Back to Eden, and he would sit and do like meditation. Can you imagine your grandfather? He had us all, and my grandmom's like this Southern Baptist type of woman, and she's looking at him. What are you doing with the grandkids, Charles? And we're doing the lotus position with our grandfather. That's the kind of granddad I had. My grandmom's like, stop that devil worship.
Right, yeah.
That satanic Luciferian.
And that's like the dichotomy of back then. People were like on one side or the other. It's like, it's almost like if you believe in anything sort of holistic or energy related, you were like in the Salem witch trials. And especially if you're in a Southern Baptist family, like we had my grandfather, I guarantee, I mean, he had his Bible everywhere he went. He was a preacher as well as he was one of those like 1800s guys that we talk about that had like 1,000 jobs. Like he had all these businesses and all these different things. Yes. Like he was like the town preacher. He owned a trailer park, and I wouldn't be surprised he was like the town sheriff and all this other stuff. And it was just, exactly. But my step grandmother Lola.
Oh, I love Lola.
She was a little more out there, as far as from my perception anyway,
Mhm.
would be that same kind of mentality. Like, what are you doing? You're going to go to hell if you keep doing that. Or, just like that kind of,
Oh yeah, that energy.
so as a kid, we thought it was funny, obviously, but,
Uh-huh.
it's just like the whole, get your ass off the grass, get off my lawn kind of thing, like the crabby old dudes or whatever.
Get off my lawn. It's always
Er
somebody, right? I grew up with plenty of those kind of people. Get off my lawn. And you wonder how did they see us on the lawn? We just went like
Right.
one little corner. Like we just looked
But
at your
you can always
flowers.
see like the curtains move a little bit in the front
Yes,
window,
yes.
just like
Those were the miserable. Yeah, I had a neighbor like that. She was obsessed with her flowers and everything. And oh my gosh.
Lady Knievel. I don't want to walk barefoot in my backyard. Dog pees too much.
Oh, I
Yeah,
get it.
that would be
That
for
kind of
urban living. That might be a little,
a little harder.
but
Yeah.
but even I can even remember, and I still like on a warm day, not a hot day, but a warm day, walking barefoot down the sidewalk on the concrete, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Not even on the grass. How nice it felt to have the warmth on your heels and your
Yeah.
soles of your feet and that kind of
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
And then how much better it felt when you got into your grass, onto the yard or whatever.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
it was
like the
cool
relief
and
of it,
like, yeah,
right?
just like, yeah,
Those memories. Hey, listen, I have a funny story for you guys. Listen to this, okay?
no way.
I'm doing the race card, okay? So, okay, Karen knows that I love that island, Cumberland Island. Have you ever heard of Cumberland Island?
I've heard of Cumberland Island.
It's
Yes.
amazing. Okay, this is a national park. It's off of Georgia. It's one of those islands off of Georgia.
Like in the Savannah area, right? Like on that side.
Near St. Mary's, it's called. So
Mm.
you go like over a little take a ferry over, and
Mm.
it's a national park. It's a beach. It's a beach national park. Can you imagine that? So you go over for the day, or you could camp. You could stay over there in a camp. And then they have a real exclusive like hotel kind of deal. You could say if you want to pay $1 million a night. But then so what they do is like when I go there, you stay on the St. Mary side. You just like get a little bed and breakfast kind of deal. So so they have trails, and the trails you can walk and you can ride bikes, and the trails are sandy. They're kind of sandy and beautiful, and you're walking through this lush, just brush everywhere, animals everywhere. Well, I took my shoes off and I was walking and I was having the best time. I've gone there a few times by myself, okay? So I just like bliss out, okay? Just is so blissful. You feel like you go through a portal into your childhood. So I had my shoes off and I'm walking even through puddles because it rains a little bit, so puddles. So I'm splashing. And guess what? Everybody I walk by, now at the time I was the only negrescence Black person there. So listen to this. I'm walking and I'm barefoot. Every white person that I passed had their shoes on and socks. And I was like, what kind of portal did I go through? The white people are walking these beautiful paths of sandy. I mean, and they have not just shoes, but socks on. And I was like, and I'm the person with bare feet. Doesn't that seem like a little inversion there a little bit? Right?
At least it wasn't sandals with socks on.
No, I was just laughing. It was just funny to me because I was like, I must look like the craziest hippie to everybody. I don't understand why they have their.
I don't understand why people have such a hang up on stuff like that. It's like,
I know.
It's like it's not proper to splash around in the puddle or walk around barefoot or whatever. Maybe it's because they feel like, I got to carry my damn shoes, or I got to, where am I going to put my socks at, or whatever.
Right. But you know what? If you go to this place, I recommend everyone, if you want to do things and you're not interested in traveling abroad anymore, you want to discover things here, that is an amazing place to go. It will.
Cumberland Island.
Cumberland Island is so beautiful, and you can do it on a budget. It's not something you're going to blow your budget if you want to drive there, and so you'll have your own car and everything, and you stay over on the St. Mary side, or if you really want to budget, go and camp on the actual island. You know, you really save a lot, and you just bring your own food. Like when I stay at the bed and breakfast on the St. Mary side, I scheduled my little day trip to go over, and they will give you in the bed and breakfast, they'll pack you a lunch, and it reminds you of your, like when you went to camp, right? It's such a blissful thing. So they put your little sandwich, they have an apple, chips, and like a soda and a water, and they have it in a little pouch for you. So they put the cold ice, the Arctic little thing in it, and you carry it, and so you go over and you have your lunch, and you want to go where because the last ferry back. So you'll be camping if you miss the last.
You'll be with the skunk apes. For those of you that don't know what a skunk ape is, it's basically Bigfoot. They just, some areas they call them skunk apes. Like in Florida, they call them skunk apes. And they're always in some like swampy area or island or something or whatever, anyway. But so you can have some kind of ghost encounter or some kind of skunk ape encounter if you got to stay overnight, and where you can see the orbs or whatever kind of
This place is magical. Like Karen, I would love to do I dream of doing a field trip there. But when you're there, I'm not kidding, it has to be a portal. I have never experienced anything like it. So I go, and then when you get off the boat, you can rent the bicycles or you can walk. And I choose to do both, a little mix of both. Once I walked, and I'm just walking. And then one day I rode the bike, and I'm goofy on the bike because I'm not a regular bike rider. So it's like, they say you never forget. Well, I'm
kind of awkward.
Yeah, I was a little bit, and these are like little bike ride. Yeah,
don't forget to put your feet down when you stop.
My God, I started going fast, and I'm trying to live stream. You don't get good perception, but I was trying to get it, like capture how beautiful it was. So imagine me with the camera, and I'm like, and I almost ran into the like bushes. So I need one of those things. I need to get more techie, like put one on my head or something.
Like a GoPro or something.
GoPro, and it will be so much fun. So let me tell you, I was riding in their long paths, and can you imagine all the like foliage? It's like you have palm trees, and all, you feel like you're in an antediluvian kind of place. So I was riding my bike rather, and I'm just going along, and ahead of me, I didn't have my glasses on, or no, I did. I saw these two like figures, and I was like, I couldn't make out what they were. John, guess what? They were birds of some sort. I don't know what breed. They stood up at least like a child. They were that tall.
Jeez.
And I've never
seen
anything like it. They were birds though, and they were walking like straight up. They looked like they were like almost like penguins.
Proper.
Like they had on like evening wear, and it was a few of them, and I didn't know what to do. I was like, oh my God. And the only thing I did was I said, move away, because I didn't know what to do. And they did. They just kind of walked into the brush.
They started chasing you and started attacking you?
No, I didn't know if they
Get off my island.
Get off my island.
You crazy barefoot biped.
You hippie. You black
How
hippie.
dare you? At least everybody else has socks and shoes on.
You black hippie. You musty black hippie.
You steampunk, whatever.
Smelling like
ether.
patchouli.
Go ride your Zeppelin somewhere.
Zeppelin and your patchouli and all that. You smell like frankincense.
What's Karen say? She says the lady with the spoon goes time traveling to Cumberland Island.
There's a story. You do some. I am telling you all, you have to put Cumberland Island on your list. It is, I can't even explain it to you. You just have to go and see it for yourself. It's a lot of, how did I miss this? They have wild horses, everybody. Wild horses.
What?
Yes.
Do they really?
Sure. Wild horses. They come
on this island.
They walk on the beach. I have pictures. I have video of the horses. You don't get to see that often. Like photographers come to this island, like when they are real big, like they have the big lenses. You have the professional photographer, and they go hoping to see the horses. And not every day do you get to see them. But the day I was there, guess what? The horses came onto the beach, and you could see all the photographers coming out to catch it. And it's amazing. Yes, there you go. That's Cumberland Island. There you go. Can you imagine seeing that, you guys? This place is magical. And another thing that happens when you're there, the butterflies, the monarch butterflies, they fly all around your face. They just flutter all around you. And you're like, you are in a child. Like I go back to my childhood when I'm there. It is unbelievable. Nevada as well too. Lady Knievel, you're so funny. And you know what they have to tell people when you're on the ferry? They have to tell people, please do not try to ride the horses.
Oh my gosh. I saw there was a picture of a pizza box. You know how they have like the small lettering on the bottom for different things, for different warnings? Mm-hmm. One of them actually said, do not attempt to eat the cardboard box or something to that effect. That's like, really, you have to tell people that? I guess, is that such a problem that you actually have to print it on the box?
Listen, you have to tell the people now. You have to. We're in clown world, like we're all the way deep in it. I forgot to tell you guys that travel has to the Corn Palace. Really? Where is that? South Dakota?
South Dakota.
The Corn Palace. Oh, what is that? I never heard of that. What is it?
We had it on the show the one time.
Oh no, I forgot.
Yeah, so it looks like a castle, but it's
made yes. Yeah. I know now. Okay, wait a minute. I'm still here. I have to plug my computer in. Gosh, it doesn't keep a charge anymore like it used to. Not long. See, that's what happens. See, that's part of my whole shtick, my rant, is that things don't last.
No.
You can't even get a good 2 years out of these things.
It's like even every day I tell Julie this, and I'm sure her eyes are rolling in the back of her head somewhere. But I'm constantly, and I know the people that are, whoever my handlers are, or whatever, listening on my phone and stuff like that, I'm sure they get an earful in my car every once in a while because of some of the stuff that I say. Because I can't believe sorry people, this is just who I am. I constantly say, why doesn't shit just work the way it's supposed to work? Exactly. Why? Every day I run across something where something just doesn't work, or it doesn't work the way it's supposed to, or whatever the case is. And it's like, and it's kind of funny that we're actually mostly doing our show on this rant, but it's kind of funny though. It's
right. It's like,
maybe we need to get it off of our chest.
You're not asking a lot. You're just asking, can ish work? That's all.
Even like you said, even phones and technology and stuff like that, like Julie's phone, for example, it's like we could be in the same house and it's constantly like her phone drops calls, or it's like it breaks up and stuff. And it's like, these weren't like cheap phones. This is like one of those Z Fold phones, like that, like folds in half, it's got the giant screen,
My phone is gone.
It's a POS.
For it. It's gone. My phone right now is not working. It doesn't keep a charge. And
unless you update the software as often as they want you to,
that's what I don't
forget about it.
Forget about it. I know this because when they started those software updates, whenever I would do an update, something would happen to my data. Everything would mess up. And then I decided I'm not doing it anymore. And especially when they were going to do the contact tracing, I was like, no more updates. So I know that they're penalizing people that don't do updates on a regular basis, right?
Yeah, they are.
So
They
my
say they're
phone,
not, but
my
they are.
phone is dead. And guess what? I don't want another one. I think I'm becoming more
You remember we used to make fun of the peoples with the flip phones, but they're probably having the most luck with the
this
older
is how
phones.
I'll call people on this. I am not getting another phone. I don't think I will. Gosh, I don't want another phone. I hate phones. I do not like the phone. I
I
like
miss my flip phone. I miss my Razor.
yeah, aren't they coming back or something? They're bringing it back.
Something like that. They are back, but you know,
really?
it's just kind of lost its
I'm
whatever.
so done. I never liked telephone because I had a job in a call center once, and I think that did it for me. I hated telephones after that. I don't even like talking on the phone.
Yeah, same way.
I don't want another phone, y'all. But I know I'm not gonna get another one. They told me come in and I haven't even gone in. That's how bad I don't care anymore. I'm like, I don't care about the phone. I just let it go away. I'd rather see the person. I'm ready to do this is where I'm ready. I'm ready to do the breakaway community, a commune, if you want to call it that, going Amish. That's exactly what I'm ready for. I'm ready to break away. I think that all the people that we gather on these spaces, I could absolutely go and do a breakaway culture with you all. Society. Listen, we could just go get a patch of land somewhere. It doesn't
I hear there's a lot of space under Antarctica.
Yeah, it doesn't even have to be here. We can go to Scotland. Do you know how many islands? They have 800 islands in Scotland. I'm sure we could find something nice. John is in real estate. He and his wife, they could find us a nice island, and we just all go over there and build our little whatever you want. We have fishing villages everywhere. Everybody gets a boat. It's like Oprah. You get a boat. You get a boat. You get a boat. Everybody gets a boat.
I studied island biogeography when I was breeding monitor lizards, and Indonesia has thousands of islands. Thousands of islands. I mean, literally thousands of islands that most of them aren't lived on. You know, granted, some are, you know, probably not habitable realistically, but there's something to be said about that. You know, people living on an island or living somewhere in a whatever,
it's a breakaway. You know how you watch Star Wars,
parallel society, as it were.
Yeah, they have a breakaway colony, and I think breakaway colonies, like plenty of breakaway colonies just all over the world. People, because everybody's experiencing this all over the world. It's not just here. And people could come together and they could practice a cooperative economics. So whoever has not communism, but something where, okay, we're all gonna
your skills for skills. Like somebody's good at this, hey, I need this stitched up. Can you do that? Exactly. I'll fix your door or whatever, right.
And I think everybody should have a little kayak, something that you could, because if we move to Scotland, they have
bigger than any alligator
canals, canals everywhere. And you can wake up in the morning and this is the stuff that I'm thinking of. You get in your kayak in the morning. Can you imagine you bring your coffee and you just go and just flow down the canal, and then you just flow by my house and you go, hey Jen, what are you up to? And I'll be out on the balcony doing my research, and you'll be like, look at her up there with her crazy pajamas. Oh my God, there's Josephine.
She's got Bobo the chimp's up there with her.
And I might say, come by later, bring some fish and I'll have grits and biscuits. Just bring the butter. We know that Karen makes the butter because Karen now got a little farm.
She got the Crisco.
Yeah, I got the grits, and we're going to fry some fish out on the beach, and we're going to have breakfast.
We're going to render some pigs.
Can you imagine? And then we have somebody, I'll be keeping bees too. I want to do it all. So I'll have the bees and the honey. So we'll do the whole thing. And we just do that. We forage for mushrooms and come over. We'll make a cowboy skillet omelet with mushrooms and everything, right?
There you go. how life should be, you know,
There you go.
until you had these 1%ers jump in and decide that
They're going to be taken out, though.
the little people aren't worth anything other than to serve our greater good and be our slaves, provide us an income, even though we don't need it because we print money literally out of thin air anyway, and so we can print as much as we want. But we want to give the illusion that we are, generating this income. But yeah, no, absolutely. It's funny that you brought that up because I thought about that today because last night I watched the latest James Bond movie that came out last year.
Oh, really?
No Time to Die.
Really?
No Time to Die or something like that. It was the last one with Daniel Craig.
Oh, they didn't have a woman playing her yet? They didn't totally
actually
jump.
It's funny you should say that because you could tell where they're transitioning.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you guys watch James Bond. I don't want to give it away, but in order to answer Jen's question, I'm going to have to give it away. So pause it or turn the volume down or whatever. But and I guess the last movie, he literally he was kind of done. He went off the grid, and he lived on this island. And it's funny the way you describe it. Like he was by himself, had his little boat. He would do whatever. He'd come back to his house, have his coffee, do whatever, relax. And of course, until they found him, it's like,
really.
But since they thought he was dead, they actually replaced him with another 00, and they actually gave her his number 007. It was a black woman. Who's the new in this movie anyway, she played 007.
You're joking. No,
I'm not kidding.
She's gonna be a black woman. Okay.
And this actress did a good job with the role. And but you could tell they were pushing this thing a little bit, yes, a little bit.
But she might not even be a woman. That's the thing that's weird about the clown world that we're in. He might be trans woman. That would be what I think they would do. Wouldn't that make
trans
sense?
07?
Yeah, that would make sense in the current energy that they are in. That she would be a trans black woman. I'm a proud trans.
Yeah. So they teamed up in the movie the last hour or so. They had accomplished a couple things, and
oh gosh,
it was interesting. But the idea of going off the grid and being on this island and this and you knew everybody locally, and this might have been an island off of Spain or something, or it kind of it sounded like they were speaking Spanish,
so many. I didn't even know this. Cuba, okay? Cuba. Do you know how many islands are around Cuba?
No, I didn't realize Cuba had islands.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We are so in we're in a whole other, this is such a simulation. It has to be, because when I was going to Cuba, the last trip I was making to Cuba, I was saying, well, wow, it would be different to do something a little bit off the grid, when I go to Cuba. So I happened to land on this travel site, and they were talking about Cuba, but it was from people who lived in Italy. They would frequent one of these islands around Cuba. It was their kind of thing. And have you noticed when you travel, it's that happens, Italians travel to certain destinations, and that's kind of what they do. Australians, they go to Bali, they go to certain places, so that's their thing. So these Italian kind of travelers, they go to these other islands in around Cuba. They don't maybe go to Cuba, but they are around Cuba. And these islands,
funny, the James Bond movie took place in Cuba last night. That's weird that you should say that.
It might be one of these other islands that we don't know about. We just know about the main island of Cuba, but the islands around, they have resorts. Some are very opulent resorts for rich Italian people. They have all those amenities like yacht, harbors and all these things. So they are living, when you think about this is something we don't know about, but it's a reality. It's a different realm. And I can see now what Jason Basirs talks about with the simulation, because
Yeah.
the Italian people that traveled to the islands around Cuba, they're living in a whole different, like, think about it. They're living in a whole different timeline realm that we don't know about, who go to Cuba. And then a lot of us don't go to Cuba because we were told that we couldn't travel to Cuba, when that was a lie. People, it's like staying in a cage, you know, when they take the cage away, they tell you you can't go to Cuba. But if you read the fine print, it didn't say you couldn't go. It said the State Department doesn't recommend that you go, because
Right.
this can
Yes.
happen, this can happen, this can happen. We don't have an embassy there. Da, 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 da. But it didn't say you couldn't go. Because I talked to so many people when I would travel to Cuba, they'd be like, "Oh, what? You're going to Cuba? How are you going? I thought we're not allowed to go." And I'm like, you can go. You don't have direct flights from here.
Right.
You can go through a third party place, okay? But people get used to the box that we were put in. We were told
People can go through Guantanamo Bay.
Yeah, well, you go there, you can get there pretty easy. But it's
That's
just,
going to be a popular destination for some people.
I mean, that's bizarre, isn't it? The whole Cuba thing, it's a big rabbit hole, because even just having Guantanamo there, it
She
is
does kind of look a little manly in that picture.
There you go. See, I didn't even have to see her to know that that's the narrative they're pushing. Okay. You know what? From here on out, it's not a word. I'm silent. Okay. I said what I said. Okay. Just like Needy says, I said what I said. And that's all.
Anyway, it was a good movie until there was a couple parts that kind of were bad, but
God, I'm eating popcorn on that one.
There you go.
Okay.
But has anybody, and this is one of those things again, and speaking of like not like missing out on cultures kind of under your nose kind of thing. I ran across this the other day. I find a lot of things on the Telegram channel, like Tartaria and something history, whatever. But I found, has anybody ever heard of Cahokia?
No. What? How do you spell it? I'm sorry to talk with popcorn in my hair.
Mystery of Cahokia. Why did North America's largest city vanish? Long before Columbus reached the Americas, Cahokia was the biggest, most cosmopolitan city north of Mexico, located in southern Illinois.
Yes, I heard of this.
8 miles from present-day St. Louis. It was occupied by the so-called Mississippians, a group of Native Americans.
Yes.
Tales of Cahokia don't even show up in Native American folklore and oral histories.
I'm glad you brought this up, because I learned about that, and they call these different tribes Mississippians. It was a term for, this was the first big city in America, you all.
And so here's this like an artist friend, but there were pyramids. They had pyramids in Cahokia.
It's amazing the way they lived, like the way they did their communities. Amazing. Yep.
I love the term Mississippians. That's just
Mississippians. I had to learn. I was like, wait a minute, Mississippians, but they said this is the style of the city.
And they had the kind of a South American Aztec-y kind of feel to like a step pyramid kind of idea. And,
well, they're related. They're all related peoples. That's what I found out. The Native Americans here on this part, see, we think it's the separation, but all this was the same. So the Aztecs.
Let me get my water. I'll be right back.
The Aztecs and the Mayans and the Incas, they all share the same language. When you look into the linguistics of the tribes from here in North America, they share the same linguistic qualities and patterns of the Inca, Aztec, and Mayans. So these are all the same people. We just have been told that it's all this separation. So I'm just saying, it's crazy, right? So what are you guys saying in the chat? Casey said, everyone thought I would go bonkers that that was the best 3 months I had. Barbecue, coffee in the morning, peanuts to have squirrels take out. Oh, whatever you're saying, Casey, I sign up for that. I love whatever that is about. You never liked James Bond? I wasn't a big fan. It just seemed like when I was younger, it was more like the guys in my family like James Bond, so it was kind of a guy thing. I didn't really I mean, I watched the movies, but I wasn't a big, James Bond fan. So I understand. But I like the ones that were done in like I love 60s, if it's done in the 60s. So I like it from that standpoint. I could use some coffee right now. You know what? I like eating popcorn and having coffee is what they do in Ethiopia. Did you know that, John? They have
Popcorn and coffee.
yeah, it's Ethiopian.
Hmm.
And it goes.
I did not know that.
Oh my God! Would you guys mind if I go get a cup of coffee real quick?
Get some coffee.
I have some.
Just don't go to Ethiopia.
I won't go to Ethiopia to do it, but I'm gonna be right here. Okay. I'm just trying to get because I think it would be perfect. Okay. 1 minute.
Okay. All right. So let's see here. But yeah, the Cahokia thing kind of blew me away. I never heard of them ever until a couple days ago. Excuse me. And then let's see. We'll go back to Shem Jacobs' photos here in a minute. I do want to touch on those because there's some interesting photos. But I'll wait till Jen comes back for this because she'll really like this. This is unbelievable, actually. But I'm floating the idea of in some of these areas, like these mud flood areas, of instead of trying to carbon date some things, maybe looking at the history of the trees, because we know that with trees we can find out a lot of stuff. We can find out fires, floods, all kinds of things, especially if it's a really, really, old type or species of tree that lives a long time. So I'm wondering if that's a way, a valid way to be able to look into some of this stuff with these mud floods and other things, because you can take core samples like they do with ice, up in the Arctic and Antarctic and that kind of stuff. This is just like a picture that's kind of showing a core, but you have to have the sample has to have the bark on the outside, and you get these cores like this. So you can kind of read them like any other core, so you can see if there was any kind of cataclysmic events that the tree survived, whether it was a flood, a fire, whatever the case is. So I'm wondering if that's a valid way to be able to, in some of these mud flood areas, to kind of get an idea of when some of this stuff happened, especially species of trees that live a long time, like sequoias and that kind of stuff. And let's see, Denise says Scott Walter is a forensic geologist. Hold on here. We did a show about the casino, and they were in North America and South America. If I remember correctly, they came up to North America from South America. And Karen, yes, the tree of life and the tree of knowledge. I mentioned trees last time because as far as like a way to de-stress or whatever, I got to take my own advice. And like find an old tree out in the woods somewhere and just lay your hands on it and just, hey, can you take some of this negative energy, and can you handle it for me and give me some good energy, like carbon dioxide out, oxygen in kind of thing, but with energy. But I want to show Jen, I know you're going to get a kick out of this. I got an amazing jolt of laughter the first time I saw this. Speaking of the 1800s, they actually this was something popular. They actually would crash trains as a sport. Like
No.
crashing trains was one of America's favorite pastimes for 40 years.
Oh, that's
On
weird.
September 15th, 1896, of course, it's our 1800s,
Mhm.
two locomotives crashed head on 14 miles north of Waco, Texas. The
Oh,
locomotive's boilers exploded on impact, sending debris flying through the air for hundreds of yards, killing at least 2 spectators and maiming countless others. Maiming countless others. One man even lost an eye to a flying bolt, but no one ran from the calamity. In fact, after the crash, thousands of bystanders ran towards the destroyed locomotives, hoping to claim a piece of the wreckage. That's because the 40,000 or so people scattered along the tracks that September day knew the locomotives were going to crash and had paid to be there. So they paid money to be there. From 1896 until 1930, staged train wrecks were popular at fairs and festivals across the U.S. I never
okay.
knew.
Let me take a moment with that. What I'm gonna tell you, what hit my spirit with you reading that. I'm putting my tinfoil turban on. When you think about the 1800s and how it seems that they were frantically getting rid of architecture, they were burning cities, they were
Transportation.
they were destroying the transportation sector because you had a lot of zeppelins that were catching fire. This is all happening at the same time. So I want like I see all kinds of mischief in this. This is not a true narrative. This is what we were just talking about earlier, like the Jan, the 6th of Jan thing. This is what it is. They are spinning a narrative because this is how they're hiding that they had to destroy Tartaria. They had to take that realm away. They did not want that technology going because those families, they went for the grab, for the Casino Royale. They took their position as the leaders. They founded and assumed all that real estate, and they had to destroy everything, the free energy, all the technology. So there's no way people enjoyed train wrecks. That doesn't even make any sense.
Yes, and that's kind of why I dug into a little further and why I brought this up too.
Wow, John, I didn't know. I never, like, this whole narrative reads like CNN.
Yes, it does. And Karen, you're right. Flooding cities and towns also, and we're going to get into that too.
That's right.
Remember when I said we're going to talk about Shem Jacobs' photos? We're going to talk about the flooding of stuff because I want to show you some of Shem Jacobs' photos.
And
but
these people look like crisis actors. They look like what the modern day crisis actors look like.
But here's the thing, and this is kind of the point I want to make too. I mean, they drew massive crowds, you know. I mean,
that's weird.
Back then, 40,000 people would be like 100,000 people. It'd be like a packed stadium, like one of the biggest stadiums, you know. And there's these photographers would get these dramatic photos. I mean, it's all this debris and everything, and people obviously were getting hurt and killed and that kind of stuff. But
like
think about this.
They do it with the psyops here. People get unalived, right?
Yep. When they want to take your guns, people get hurt. But think about this. Back in the mid to late 1800s, you're just coming out of the Old West. Think about the amount of money, the equivalent amount of money it would take to build a steam engine, a locomotive, a rail car, the railway system, all this, and just to go willy-nilly just crash them and explode them together. That's like,
you wouldn't do it. It makes no sense.
It's an expensive hobby to have. I mean, this was your, besides horses and wagons, this was your only means of transportation. Why would you be wrecking all the railroad cars and stuff like that?
It is a narrative, because if we were told that they built all of that amazing stuff for the World's Fairs to only turn around and take it down, it was only created for the World's Fairs, and they tell us that the material was facade. They'd say like that's an insult to your intelligence. You know that stuff was not built with stucco. It was not a facade.
Yes. And there's always one guy. There's always one guy that's involved in this whole thing. There's like always somebody, like he's the narrative manager, I guess.
Mhm.
So his name was Joe Connolly. Joe Connolly staged more than 70 wrecks, and destroyed at least 146 locomotives between 1896 and 1932. I immediately thought of like the Great Fires when they were like randomly willy-nilly blowing up, dynamiting buildings and crap like that.
Crazy.
Connolly, originally from Iowa, began to crisscross the country, putting on wrecks from Boston to Los Angeles. Of course, get rid of them everywhere. You don't want to do it in just one area.
Mhm.
Tampa to Salt Lake City. By the 1930s, stage train wrecks were starting to lose their popularity because
They
wrecking
got rid of
otherwise
them all. That's why
Because-
they destroyed them all and then put the rest in the museums. We get.
yes,
I see right through this.
because wrecking otherwise useful locomotives was seen as wasteful at the height of the Great Depression. No
on,
shit,
people.
Sherlock.
Come on now, corn popping them. Come on, this is such a cry. I'm ready for this. I'm ready to break away from them. Listen. I'm trying to get to somewhere out of here. I'm done with these. I don't want to be played anymore. I'm tired of this. Is stupid. Nobody would do this. Like what Karen said, those steam engines are made from like this is something like a tank. You're not going to be able to destroy that with what? Okay, so they blew
Well,
it up
that's
with dynamite?
what this person says here at the bottom. Very odd how these beautiful locomotives were so easily destroyed. The people of the time seemed to be quite ignorant to it, and especially during a depression.
Yeah.
Out
like,
with
you
the
have-
old, and make way for the new. Only
No
it looks
way.
like we took a step back instead of forward with
No
what we
way.
have today.
No way is that true. During the depression, do you think people have time? They're trying to find food according to their narrative at Dust Bowl and all that. Do you think let's go and crash trains? Like,
Let's crash it. That's like the monster truck rallies of the time or something. Except this is like, again, that it would be like the equivalent of people just having all this extra, like, and who was donating these trains? I mean, where were they getting the trains from? These companies like that built these trains and had a lot of businesses back then relied on that transportation, transporting things across the country. They only had literally like one rail line to get stuff from one coast to the other. Why would you get rid of the only vehicle that's going to at least monetarily be able to, you can afford to get stuff shipped somewhere on on rail cars? It doesn't make sense. It's just that's like one of those slap in the face, like that's so obvious. And when I ran across it the other day, I'm like,
wow,
you gotta be kidding me. I had the same reaction you did. I'm like, you have to be shitting me. You have to
really
be
found
kidding.
something. You found something crazy. Like that's clown world for the 1800s. It's like it mirrors the clown world from. But the thing about the 1800s that's so wackadoodle is that you'll see pictures where it's hardly any people because the population wasn't that. Like if you go to the when did they take that big census? It was the 1840 census or what the one big one. It was a really big one. Then they had a 1901 census. And if you look at the census rolls, they didn't have the amount of people, especially people that would go to a site. Like they all show up at the city for a World's Fair.
Right.
They claim that they had millions of people show up for a World's Fair. Like where? And then they have all these like insane asylums. So there's
And a lot of orphans, an amazing amount of orphans. So
nothing makes sense of that. This is the most like this boy.
And Karen's right. Yes, Karen, I would agree with that. So what's your theory is that it would have been expensive and that means money wasn't an object.
That's a real good point, Karen. Wow.
And to some of these people, and Jennifer and I've brought this up before, especially the one dude when we were talking about the Smoky God, The guy that seemed to have like all this money from out of nowhere, who had this real estate business and had all this other stuff, land developing, in addition to being an author and all this other stuff. It seemed like some people, and again, it goes back to these, we'll just call them the controllers from now on. We won't call them the 1%ers. We'll call them the controllers, because we don't necessarily know that they were the 1%ers, but the controllers, the narrative controllers. Money was not an option to these, or was not an obstacle for these people. They could literally, if it was something crazy enough and clown worldy enough, if they weren't trying to destroy history, they could build these lavish things and do all this. I mean, if you look at like some of the stuff that came after, and we showed like some of the train cars, so lushly pointed and like this lavish, they weren't destroying those trains. But,
I hope not. But I have a feeling that they kept some things for like museum purposes or maybe collectors. Right. But I think it's like the burning of the libraries in Alexandria and everything. I don't know.
Alexandria is something I want to study. It's hard to study because even though it supposedly was the largest collection of information ever in the world, it's one of the hardest things to study because they've done a good job of completely obliterating it from history.
Yeah. I've been to that library. I've been to Alexandria, and I went to the new modern library in its place. Let me tell you, if you like libraries and you can nerd out on libraries, this library is the mother of all libraries. It really is. It has like artifacts. So it's like a museum hybrid library. Unbelievable. And it has like levels. It looks like you're in an opera house or so, like, where you go up and up and up. And it's just areas for study everywhere. It was amazing.
Yeah, a lot of that's, I'm sure, like narrative literature. Like, even though it's old or whatever, I'm sure it's only there because it goes along with whatever narrative you're trying to paint.
That's the feeling I got from the library, was that everything was, they give you a feeling of you're in a place where you can just go wild and explore. But I got in my spirit, I could sense that it was all staged, for the tourists. So you have this like illusion of, these are, we spared some of the books from, I think all those books were in the Vatican, actually. I think they didn't burn them. I think they lied about burning a lot of them. I think they just took them, what they always do, steal.
Now, like, and going to the subject of, again, like building cultures on top of cultures, some of these Shem Jacobs photos, which we're going to get to now, blew me away when I saw them.
Oh yeah.
I mean, look at this. Like, here's like the actual ground level up here.
It's crazy.
And look at all of this, like especially this end. I don't know where this is at. Wow. So they were excavating to do something. I don't know if it was to build a tunnel system or what, but I mean, look at these like rickety columns down here that are supporting whatever this was at one time here, that this, pre-20th century culture was built on top of. And, so when I see images like this, and then I see this, like, here's the, again, this, whenever this was taken, the structures.
That is amazing, isn't it? Oh my, look at that.
And then it just, you keep going down, 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 and it's like it's built on this fortress wall or something.
Yeah, that's amazing. Oh, people, this is, your mind is going to be blown when we really get into more. We're just like, we have
Karen's flooding thing here.
Yes.
This is what it looked like.
Oh.
And this is without the water, after they sucked all the water out and everything else.
Wow.
Talking about hiding things, like you said, flooding places on purpose to hide stuff or whatever.
Oh my.
that's kind of cool if you were to be in that area and walk by and you're like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Exactly.
But this is even cooler.
way cooler. Like, whoa, you went levels of cool now. Like this is a mind bender. It's amazing.
But he's got a lot of kind of cool photos. There's this
cool.
I don't know where this is at either, but
oh wow.
This is what the original painting, or whenever this painting was done of this particular Parthenon or whatever it is. I'm guessing it's in Italy somewhere. You can kind of see like where, you know, the steps and these people in the boat down here. And then in modern times, there's just ground level here. There's nothing, you know, like they just buried it. Like, okay, yeah, we'll just. And as all the narrative puppets and stuff like that, the mainstream archaeologists and scientists, one of their favorite phrases is, well, they buried it before they left.
That one is such a dumb, like, you know, scientists now, they used to sound smart to me. Now, when they're like woke and going along with the dumb narrative, they're like dum-dums now. I have no respect for the people that they tell us are authoritative. They're like dumb, the biggest dummies to me.
I mean, okay, did they forget there was people actually painting these structures at one time?
Exactly.
And in a culture, and it seemed like these people were peaceful and they were enjoying their life, and like because artists always try to, you know, capture like the mood or the sense of what that particular, you know, scene is, and these people kind of
chill. They probably had music. Like, think about it. When you think about a culture that's very advanced, they're not into a lot of brutality. When they don't have a monetary system that is parasitic, like, imagine they might have had music piping all around, frequency. Like, that's how like other people have said that too. They can imagine like the organs that are in a lot of these structures. They could have been pumping out frequency. So if you're sitting there like blissing out with your friends, you know, you're rowing in your kayak and you're in a blissful state. You probably don't want to do marijuana anymore. You don't need it because the whole dang air is giving you a bliss. You're blissing out on it.
Remember how I was talking, and you brought up another great segue, because I was going to talk about this too. Remember I was talking about the bells and people removing all the bells and stuff like that in all these different areas, and burying them and putting them in these like graveyardy kind of things. Well, some of the older architecture and like the, you know, like the Tartarian architecture and some of these other areas like in Thailand and stuff, they had like these bell-shaped buildings or structures. Even like if you look at like ancient, like some of the depictions of Babylon, and they kind of had like a bell-shaped structure. And in Jennifer's ether, it's hypothesized that these shapes promoted like good vibes, for lack of a better word, you know, maybe not specific frequencies, because they didn't know about specific frequencies, but good, like the good vibes, like and like before World War II, and like they like the Nazis and all these other people went around to all these areas and took all these bells, you know, because people were
healthier.
Let's see here. Okay. Once we had the Beautiful World exhibitions in the 1900s, the buildings of which were also destroyed, equipped with free energy, which is still closely connected with the tower built by Nimrod, our friend Nimrod of Babylon. The building has always stood there, and we look at the tale from the wrong side, as it wasn't built but demolished. The connection to the higher energies and the free energy were symbolically destroyed. What do they have in common? It has all to do with sound, energy, and frequency. So, and I wholeheartedly believe that these structures promoted that kind of stuff. And we've talked about the idea of when they're collecting this energy and the ether and that kind of stuff, especially at places of worship, you know, places where people were like, you know, in such a heightened state of, you know, appreciation and other things. In some way, like this amplified that. And to me, I will just go with the good vibes thing. And
Yeah, I like it because we use the term, but it is about vibration. And I believe, John, what you said earlier, I believe they did know about frequency. They were way more advanced than us, and that's why they had all this it was embedded in their society. So illnesses were not like they could eradicate. It just wasn't a thing. People didn't have this kind of stuff going on because they were more in harmony with everything around them. So when you think about the controllers, to disrupt that harmonious flow in humanity so they could then get in and do what they do, their program of still unaliving and destroying, the playbook of Satan. And then they could create this monetary system and enslave the people, right? And so we see the whole thing, and then how they got rid of all this the healthful wellness stuff, so that the Rockefellers could introduce their medical system that we're currently at.
That's where I was going with this.
So they had to have known that the frequency, they knew all this. They were way advanced.
Look at the size of this bell here.
It's amazing.
Look at this dude. I mean, compared to this bell.
Imagine different times of the day, somebody just, doing something with that bell, and it reverberates like water, and it's just going out into the.
Well, look what happens in the Middle East every day when they.
That's right.
They put it over the speakers, and you're facing east or whatever, and it's very harmonious. It's like a droning kind of, like you're like, it's a frequency that everybody's putting out. It's like,
Glad you brought that up, because a lot of times we are taught to hate the East in terms of Islam and it's all that, division stuff, because if you go and meet people over there, they're not like what the news tells you, right? They just believe something different from you. They're not like trying to go and unalive everybody, right? They're just everyday people. So when I'm in an Islamic nation and you start to get into the rhythm of their nation, every morning when you hear the minaret, you wake up naturally. It's like you don't need an alarm clock, because you're in a society that moves they move more human. So everybody just begins to wake up. Like when I'm in places where they have a lot of chickens and things, I wake up with the chickens. You almost get like the early wake up. The chickens start. It's always a crazy chicken, right? A crazy one. This guy. And you're like, oh boy. So that's your first wake up. That's your first alarm. Okay. You can't shut that alarm off unless you want to fry that chicken for lunch, right? So it's going to wake you up at whatever time, 5, maybe the first, and then the second. Then you might hear the minaret, and then you'll hear people starting to move. The shop owners, or see, these are people that they have shops in their community. The people that make your butter, so they can't put poison in your butter, because where they live. The term, like, I know where you live. That's why we should know where everybody lives that produces our food, because if you did something to us, we're going to pay you a visit.
Yep.
And we're going to ask you why you did it. Why would you do it?
That's like, even since we're talking about the 1800s and before, like every town had you had your own, you had the barber, there's a barber, you had a meat cutter, you had a dentist, or you had whatever. And it was like a lawyer, a newspaper, or whatever, and a grocer or a general store. And like Jennifer said, if it's like, yes, a few people start kicking over because they had some bad butter or something like that, it's like they know who to go to, and if it wasn't them, then it was old Billy Bob's cows or something was wrong with them, or was maybe they got the monkey pox or something. And
but it's easy to do a course correction when you live in a society that makes sense. And it's not communism. It's just everybody, like you said earlier, why can't ish just work? And this is how you make a society work. Look at that. It's
Yeah. I mean, there's another one of his
wow.
You see the water level down here, you see like these,
Wow.
it looked like it was a bridge or something that allowed water to pass underneath it. Then modern, it's just the top. There's no,
Crazy.
there's no water, there's no river, no whatever.
The pizzeria now, everybody.
Yeah, so this must be in Italy because it's like Rodizio something.
Yeah.
Ristorante and pizzeria. So yeah, it's somewhere over there in that Italia area. And then, like this, they started excavating to build something in this area, and they, come across these tunnels, it's just this, of course, these buildings here were probably built, supposedly built, whatever the narrative calls for.
Right. All the same.
In the 1800s or whatever it was. And you got with that much sediment and stuff on top, or mud floody stuff. Oh no, wait, they buried it before they left.
Oh yeah. It's like a cat does in the litter box, covers its little stuff up so nobody knows it went to the bathroom.
They buried it so well that even the tunnels are completely filled.
Wow.
Funny how that works,
that, right? You have time. I barely have time. If you're planning a trip, I don't even have time to do a lot of things, but they had a lot of time to fill in where they get all
a lot of tunnels in the 1800s, I'll tell you.
Oh my.
Or the people before,
you
whatever.
saw the tools that they had, right? You looked at their little workshops. They had Amish tools.
And a lot of them were drunk and not, a lot of them were, what was that stuff? Opium. Like they were using a lot of opium and stuff like that.
Yeah, that was in the cough syrups and stuff.
Yeah.
They had marijuana.
These guys weren't working. I'm telling you, not everybody's. So that even narrowed down the workforce even more.
I never thought about. They had heroin in the cough syrup. They had coca. Yeah, I wonder how. Yeah, they got things.
So that's got to affect productivity.
That was probably done on purpose. Some of that stuff, right? I've seen this Egyptian.
Remember when I've showed this before on the show. The hieroglyph, the image in Egypt in the I can't remember what the
look at that. Oh my god.
So this is like a representation of that. And the reason I'm going to show this right now is because I came across this. See how these are like these are batteries. These are
yes.
they're I can't remember what the exact ingredients that they use, but they found like lemon juice, whatever else that conducts electricity.
What did you say?
I think lemon juice was one of the.
That was one of them.
I think.
But lemon juice has an acid, a very strong acid quality.
That's
so
where
that makes sense. Wow. Oh my god.
That's where I'm going with. There's this thing called, and this ties in with your 1800s electric cars and charging cars in the 1800s. This ties in with that.
Oh wow.
There's a device called a mercury arc valve or mercury vapor rectifier. The mercury arc rectifier is a type of electrical rectifier used for converting high voltage or high current alternating into DC or direct current. It is a type of cold cathode gas filled tube. So when I saw that, that led me back to my Egyptian depiction.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Can you send me these, please, John? Can you send me a copy of the one before that? And this is amazing.
So when I saw that,
you find John, doesn't he? I know you all know we're singing to the choir. John finds, oh my gosh, John. Wow.
So it is, let's see, cold cathode gas filled tube, but it is unusual in that the cathode, instead of being solid, is made from a pool of liquid mercury. And remember, again,
I'm sorry,
to me, anything Anything in the narrative that they don't want you to discover or know the properties of, they make it dangerous.
Of
They
course.
make it so
Yes.
Mercury. Remember where they were pushing hard,
you can't touch it.
pushing hard with Mercury. Like,
scared the
stay away from it. Stay away from it.
Remember when you were little and you had the thermometer? Like if I was at my cousin's house and my aunt would say, like, we broke the thermometer, they would have to put the glass. They use glass thermometers when I was a kid.
Right.
You know? So they put it under your tongue. You'd have to keep it under there so long. I hated it. It hurts, you know. And
Yes.
it had the mercury in it. And one day, I don't know who did it. I'll blame my cousin Jill because she did it. Jill broke the thermometer, dropped on the kitchen floor, and my aunt was like, "Get away!" She was like acting like it had, we
Like it was nitroglycerin.
all out. Yeah, she's scared. So that's my memory of how people were programmed. As she was like, no, it was almost like she was going to call hazmat to clean up the mercury.
Mercury was bad for you, but DDT was good to spray all over your kids for bugs.
There you go. Clown world.
So
Crazy.
when I came across this, it took me back to ancient Egypt again, and it took me forward to Tesla. And the whole idea of, because I saw a video recently, probably within the last couple of months, of a gentleman who the UK government was trying to silence for decades. And he was able, I have his video and I'll see if I have it, but it's a long video, so I don't want to like put it on this show, but he showed that he took simple magnets, like these round magnets, and he was able to create, he had liquid mercury. He had like a bowl of it. It was probably 6 or 8 ounces or so of mercury in this bowl. And with only these magnets and without any external electrical current, he was able to generate, and they talk about this, and as Jennifer stated, I kind of follow this whole secret space program and that kind of stuff, and like free energy stuff, but they talk a lot about these mercury vortexes. And so he showed what a mercury vortex is with these magnets, and they weren't like super powerful magnets. And he only put this bowl on top of these magnets for very short, like a few seconds. And it went from a stationary pool of mercury and this mercury was like, if you were to take a blender and it was spinning around the outside of this bowl, it was amazing how fast it was spinning in just that short period of time. Wow. And he had to literally like pull this away like quickly before it like splashed out because it was spinning so fast.
Really?
So after I saw that, it made me think a little more about ancient Egypt and this technology and the possible use of the pyramids and these other devices that they depict.
Yeah.
Like the Ankh, for example. Nikola Tesla made this oscillator, and it looks to me like symbolically it looks like an Ankh. Like when I look at that.
You're right. It does. Absolutely.
And if you look at some of the actual artifacts, some of the Ankhs themselves, they have like that capacitor look. They have these rings on this diode or whatever in the middle here, which to me symbolically represents something like this electric oscillator kind of thing. And
it's called a Djed, right? Isn't that the name of that one? Djed?
Something, yeah.
You know what? A lot of times, you know what? I have to say this. I know it's going to sound crazy, but you know how they have it where the people are doing a lot of the vape stuff? I believe that goes back to that time period too, because I think that the Egyptians with the Ankh, and when you look at some of the hieroglyphs, it looks like they were putting something to the nose, almost like it looks like they were inhaling something. My thought is they were doing something like what people are doing now, but there was like a form of vaping, and you could just put it to your nose, and it was doing. I don't know. It seems like I'm taking some fragments from stuff that I heard about that, where you see the pictures of them holding it up to the nose.
Yes.
Right.
And even in South American or Mesoamerica, whatever they call that, there's a lot of depictions of like these tubes in noses, like
Wow.
I don't know if it's the same idea or not, but
That's
my
exciting. This is
but
so
yes,
cool.
like so like going back to like the Vimanas and stuff like that, the
I love
like the flying carpets that were depicted, and again, you know, flying
what we're
vehicles.
talking about. You guys are I'm sorry, I'm getting excited.
Uh,
I'm nerding out. Please. I had coffee too, so you might have to end the live stream soon because I'm a nut on coffee. But I wanted to put something together. I've been doing the carpet things. I'm so I
so
might have
imagine
a live stream.
if you were a god
Gosh.
in Hindu, ancient Hindu, or in Egypt or whatever, um,
Oh my gosh.
and you had the ability to manipulate frequency and sound and these mercury vortexes and that kind of stuff, these mercury arc, which I'm going to show this video here real quick. Imagine if you had the ability, again, if you were sufficiently of an advanced culture, it would seem like magic or godlike to a culture that wasn't.
Exactly.
So imagine being able to fly around. Let's just say, even if you were to be able to fly around, and if you had a device or machine that was able to change the frequency underneath it, the vibration, because they can vibrate large objects with sound. Like if you had the right frequency, it would look like magic. You would be able to levitate rocks, levitate whatever. So imagine what you could do with the Great Pyramids or these large megalithic stones and whatever, if you had this technology to be able to levitate matter, levitate these, seemingly effortlessly. Now, like in like the Vimanas, I think were described. The only reason I'm bringing up the Vimanas because Julie and I have this client. They just closed on their house recently, and it's an Indian couple, and is it Hindi or Hindu or whatever? I think it's Hindi, whatever it is. They had a ceremony yesterday at the new house to bless the house, and they had brought in a priest, a local priest. It was actually a pretty long ceremony, but it involved a lot of sound, a lot of bells. Like the priest would, when he was taught, he would like ring these bells and that kind of stuff.
Wow, nice.
And so it made me think of this a little more in depth. It's like,
that makes
Indian culture is an old culture. I mean,
I think that's where a lot of this originates. Actually, is that Aryan stuff that the Nazis see. We're told that the Nazi swastika was bad. It wasn't. It was an ancient Aryan symbol for. I forget. You guys already know. We all hit the same.
It was for a good. It was a good. It represented something good. It wasn't an evil thing.
Exactly. So the Aryan race, they come from that area of the world, and I believe that they had a lot of this technology. So you're right.
And then, which led me to this little quick video. It's like, because I thought of Jennifer with her cart, her 1800s Chargers and stuff like that. Because the title of this was,
I like the rectifier. That is so cool.
Yes.
A rectifier.
That sounds like an 1800s thing to say too, like a rectifier.
A Mercury arc rectifier. I am totally going to be saying that a lot. I might make one in my dreams, right? I'm going to make a Mercury arc.
No, watch this. And if you haven't listened to Jennifer recently, she talks about 1800s electric cars, people plugging in their cars, having,
crazy
charging their cars.
Like they do now, y'all. They had the charging station in the garage. I have pictures of women women. That's another thing I want to stop, because I know I go on some tangents, but they told us that women were treated so bad back then, didn't they? Wasn't that the narrative, that women were just like slaves? Every picture I see, women look very free. They look like they do everything. They're driving their cars. I have pictures of women plugging in their electric cars in the 1800s. So if women couldn't drive, they weren't allowed to vote. They weren't allowed to do. Don't you see now that narrative is all questionable too? I just wanted to put that in there, because I always like destroying narratives, like especially feminism and racism. I gotta always speak out against them, because it's the programming. We got to break they have us in such a trick bag. Okay, I'm sorry.
And that's not a like Urban Dictionary term either. Trick bag, you're an old trick bag.
They got us in a trick bag. But no, I'm just saying, like, wow, this is it's exciting though. I mean, I feel empowered. Like,
yes, absolutely.
It's not, I'm a little annoyed that it's not as great as I am empowered and I'm expecting something amazing. You know what I'm saying? But I am annoyed at the clown world aspect of it. Like, I just can't participate in a lot of stuff, like, because
believe me, I'm with you.
yeah.
So this is about 5 minutes long, but
Mhm.
I think you'll enjoy this.
I love it already.
It's a mercury arc rectifier, and it's connected, and it's DC 120 to 20 plus 40 amps, and AC 30 120. Glows blue greenish. It's beautiful all inside. They still use those things for the subway in New York in some places to make the AC current into DC current. It's DC voltage, and the way it was done is that you had the
Whoa.
Notice the mercury vortex power in that thing?
Oh, I'm nerding out to the Mac, and I had coffee. I'm like, I'm gonna start dancing. I'm sorry, you guys. This is so cool.
AC coming in on each of the sides, and the DC would come out on the top, and this would start the actual reaction. So in fact, it's backward. It's supposed to be on the other side. When you hold it upside down? Yeah, turn it upside down. Just be careful not to drop it. Just go slowly so the mercury doesn't slam in there. Okay, okay, see that? Okay, let it go like that. Mm-hmm. You see, this is the starting electrode. And you start the arc inside, and then after that, it's a little bit like a mercury discharge lamp. And when the glues the discharge start, then you could put the AC in, and the DC would come out at the end. Slowly in the middle there. Yeah.
This side or the other
like
way?
that. No, like that. Perfect. Now you see the way it fits?
Yep.
Bring at the bottom there. Okay. It was there because see, DC is there. Mm-hmm. And it says probably was hooked up to one of those.
So now it was charging that machine in DC current?
Yeah, because DC is
because of batteries, right, of course, yeah.
This was what is the diode today? This was the ancestor of the diode with the rectifier. The rectifier, the whole time, there was only one way to do it, and it was with tubes. Today they do it with semiconductors. No, the same thing today will be replaced with a semiconductor about that big, about a couple of them. That's all. But at the time, the only way to do it was with a mercury discharge lamp. Okay. That one is on a gimbal. Okay. Okay, you see that? It's on a gimbal. Okay. Mm-hmm. So what they did, okay? You see in the front, there's a knob there. Okay. You see the knob?
Yep.
They turn it up, and what happened is that it short circuit the mercury. It bounced. It doesn't bounce, but it wiggles back and forth. I won't touch it too much, but it made the mercury contact there and created a short. And that short, when you came back, it would start the arc. And it's called the initiator striking electrode. And then after that, when the arc was started up, then the machine. This is why there was a lever on the top here, and it says start. It says starting switch, and there is the running switch. And some of those I use. I mean, some in power station they use them in an old-time power station.
That little thing up there pisses me off because they always use Edison. They don't talk about Tesla.
I was thinking the same thing, John.
Videos like this, I about blow my shit when I see
You're
Edison.
in my head right now. I was like, yeah, right. That's what I was thinking. You're right, Edison. We already know about you. Such a liar, thief, pants on fire.
But if you notice on the back of this machine too, it looks like it has a hand crank. You know how it's a lot of things back then when to create the starting current, they would hand crank. Yes, there you go. And so you'd have kinetic energy built up to start and create a spark or whatever it needed to do, whether it was kinetically or otherwise. And once you start these And see this tube here? Doesn't that tube look oddly similar to that
Absolutely.
that hieroglyph or that
Yep.
depiction on the wall in Egypt in that temple?
Totally. Totally.
So it's almost like you start the reaction and it keeps going. You know, it's taking AC, turning it into DC, and as long as that Mercury's spinning and arcing and that kind of stuff. Let's see what else he goes into here. Wow. But you get the idea. They were able to charge, you know, there's the connector, you know, to charge the car. And wow. So, but I just, again, finding all this, you know, this, you can tell this guy really likes what he's talking about.
Like I can feel it. I would love to like go on a tour and him like this is what we need, people to, you know, unearth this stuff. Like it's amazing. Whoever he is, hats off that he has done what he has done to restore this stuff and figure it all out. It's amazing.
Yeah, and he talks about like the resistors and all. He goes into like the specifics, which we don't need to go into here. But it even looks old. You know, you've got all these wood shavings and old wood shavings and stuff on there and everything. And you got this old Frankenstein knob on the front there that
looks like the thing from Metropolis. Remember this?
Yeah,
like,
yeah. You crank it up, change the voltage or whatever, or like when you do on the electroshock and all these action movies where they got them hanging in the water. You know, they're like they got the electrodes hanging on their nipples or something. And they do these like they crank up the power. Then you got the Frankenstein.
Where the treasure is.
Yeah. And then you got the Frankenstein switch up here that you pull down. Like the magic happens once you pull that switch down.
Right. It's like, and he's like, fire bad.
Yeah, see, look at that. There's that switch. I'm telling you, every mad scientist has one of these switches on their devices.
Okay, I've had coffee, you guys. It's kicking in.
So that's a requirement, I guess, for
wow, that's
stuff
so
like
cool.
that. You gotta have that.
God.
And this is another thing I ran across. This is, you know how we like the big thing right now is 3D printing and architectural 3D printing is a big thing, like with concrete, you know, like having these machines literally like on site print this building out of concrete, you know, like they
like a model.
Well, apparently this technology existed in 1930.
Hey, Girl Code talks about it. You took it to a different level, John. John found the freaking video to show you in real time. My mind is so blown. They got the doggone machine video. I am so done. John, where does he find this stuff? This is so awesome. I feel like I was pushed into a rabbit hole right now. I'm gonna have to go and look at that a few more times, John. That blew me away. Did I just see what I thought I just saw, everybody? Did you see it, or am I tripping? What was that?
And I forgot this Jem Jacobs photo was mixed in with something else, so I forgot this one. It's hard to see the top there, but you can see like they broke through into this here, which was like this, you know, like this temple or this building, this structure that's, you know, it's like, quit building civilizations on top of other ones. Don't you know there's civilizations down there?
But it's something to see it. That's why I'm going to tell you all, they're trying to make the mud flood thing. You already know the newest QAnon conspiracy. But it's like, this is why I gravitate stronger to this stuff, because you can see it. If you're weird, you can taste it. You can what? You can bang your head against it if you're into that, a head banger. You can see it.
That's right. It's there. You can touch it. That's right.
You could do everything with your five senses, okay? You could marry it even. Some people are into that. You could do listen, it's tangible. That's all I'm saying.
That's right.
It's tangible
right.
history and the narrative. That's why they don't want us getting into this, because this blows it all away. Their whole Similicon, as Jason says, it's destroyed because they need our participation. They have to have our belief and faith. And when we start pulling away from it and saying, no, Joe Magoo is not my president. Nope. Sorry. Nope.
Then, of course, I spoke of this briefly earlier, the Green Kids. Mystery of the Green Children of Woolpit.
Hold it. Hold it.
The boy fell ill and died, but as his sister learned English, she was finally able to reveal what she remembered about their mysterious past. The girl who took the name Agnes, which is a typical 1800s kind of name, pre 20th century,
definitely
described her home as a place called St. Martin's, where she and her brother had lived in perpetual twilight. Everyone in St. Martin's had green skin like them. What do you think?
Well, again, going back to the Egyptian depictions, they have like greenish. You know what I'm talking about, you all? The greenish.
Well, in the Hindi tradition too, a lot of people in that area had blue skin.
Blue skin, and people think, oh, they just did that for effect. But why not take it literal? If you see, I'm just saying it's possible. I'm not going to say that this couldn't have been like this.
I'm sure these are just depictions, but
saying,
it's funny how like even the art stuff, like the actual art itself, when they would depict some of these stories, was actually kind of entertaining.
Yeah, they color it up a little more, but
like the expressions and everything, or the lack of expression for that matter.
It's kind of awkward because they know you can feel they're awkward. They feel like they're being put out on display. That's not comfortable. Like everybody treats them probably like a freak, that's not comfortable. I'm just saying. But why not? Haven't you seen the modern day example of, there was somebody who, what did they do? He was a bodybuilder or something, and he was taking some kind of, what was it, like a supplement, and it turned his skin. It's a few people whose skin has turned a different color, like either blue or something, because of some kind of.
If you eat enough orange or carrots and stuff like that, you can actually turn your skin orange.
Yeah, you can get a little bit of that orangey from too much keratin, like the pigment in the carrots will. And I mean, I'm just saying that is not far-fetched. It's not.
No. And speaking of green, I did my own segue there. Let's see here.
But they did have in Egypt, like you know what I'm talking about? You've seen the pictures of the pharaohs that were green, right? Oh, the emerald tablet.
Yes. So if you've studied Egypt, I've studied Egypt a lot. If you can't tell, it's one of my favorite places.
Okay.
Thoth has always been an interest to me, outside of like Osiris and and Ra and all the other typical deities. But Thoth, for whatever reason, has it keeps coming up in my life. I keep running across things with Thoth. First of all, I just think it's a cool looking deity.
Right? Trismegismus.
What did you say?
His other name is like Trismegismus.
Yes,
it's like that. Something like, right? You guys know it, ×3 or something? The Trismegismus. It's an interesting thing.
Yes. I just found this one hieroglyph interesting here. It almost looks like a boombox with somebody sitting below it, like a speaker. That's how my mind works. It just goes places like that.
That's good, John. I mean,
just chilling.
Why not? You never know. I mean, these timelines are freaky, John. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a boom box and somebody's just chilling somewhere.
Here's your name, Jennifer.
Chris
Tris,
McGinnis. There you go.
Trismegistus.
Yes.
Trismegistus.
Christmas.
And the emerald tablets.
Yeah.
Talk about the emerald tablets real quick.
Wow, this is cool.
Scholars, and I love when they use the word scholars. It's always, it's just, it's like experts. Like right now in the narrative, it's experts. They don't give specific experts. It's just experts.
Yeah,
so
trust
scholars, which and the usual implication is that you're not one of them. So like when they say.
That's funny, John. I never thought about that. When they say that, they're saying you're not part of it.
Yeah, right. So when they say scholars, they don't mean you.
It's so funny.
Because they wouldn't be able to control narratives if that was the case.
Thank you. Absolutely. Wow.
Scholars consider the Emerald Tablets a legend concerning the gods of ancient Egypt, revealing mysteries involving the ancient societies that survived the Great Flood. The tablets are known as a cryptic hermetic inscription said to contain the secrets of alchemy. And they always use that word alchemy when they can't fit something into a specific bottle or box. It's always alchemy. It's alchemy.
Yep. Very good point. Wow.
And the foundation of the Hermetic tradition. Thoth built the Great Giza Pyramid. According to the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, the Great Pyramid was a device built for gaining wisdom and star travel across the universe. The King's Chamber has a box where one would lay for days on end with the shaft that leads to space. And before I go on, watch John Carter, Orion constellation, focused directly on the pineal gland. The harnessed energy of the pyramid focused on our third eye would send the non-physical body wandering the universe, gathering knowledge and directly communicating with other beings. So I just found that was kind of an interesting little
very interesting. Absolutely. Yep. Look at that.
I don't know if this is a legit picture or not, but
it's close to what they say is every time I've done research, they say that this is what it looked like. You have your paleo languages. It does make sense. This is paleo. Like people have studied this paleo, language, and they say it. I'm just saying, why not?
What happened was
they did put it on. I love it.
Ain't got no time for that.
Ain't nobody got time for that. This is no, I think it's legit, possibly. I don't know. Allegedly, everything is allegedly. I love this.
I feel like I'm in that movie. Remember Friday?
What?
Friday, you remember the movie Friday?
Oh yeah, Friday. Funny.
Yeah, allegedly has, like when they always talk when they're high or whatever, they always, they allegedly said. That's what I feel like sometimes.
I know.
Well, he allegedly said.
They forced us into like talking in code and everything.
Right.
Ridiculous. I'm so ready to get a breakaway colony away from them. Let's do it, everybody.
And it's starting to look like the damn hippies in the 60s had the right idea with their little VW buses, and like they're traveling to where like their communes and all the other stuff.
Yes, it sounds good, doesn't it? You guys are all like, we're on the same resonance, because I have some materials coming forward that everything we're talking, like this stuff, it's confirming it for me. What you guys are, I love it. So awesome.
So they were all stoned, wasted out of their minds half the time, but
no, but I feel that. And whoever said that thing about the Amish, I mean, you're from Ohio, so you grew up with the Amish, and me from Pennsylvania. And it's like, we always knew that they had the right idea. We just didn't know.
And they're pretty happy people.
They were happy. Like, they mix in with us. They come to the markets, farmers markets, and
they always show up at Dairy Queen. Like,
oh, really? We had these awesome markets in Philly, and they would come and bring their fresh, produce and things. And you buy beautiful, like I bought a playhouse for my daughter when she was little. It was made by the Amish. So it's like really high quality. But like, I just, I knew they had the right idea, but it's more and more we are appreciating what they have done, by the living parallel.
Yes. Yeah, I was in the furniture business most of my life, so I dealt with a
Oh,
lot of Amish manufacturers, that would build
oh,
some of
yeah.
the furniture for us, some of the bedrooms and that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
And
High
yeah, amazing quality. Speaking of stuff that should just work, all their stuff just
Mhm.
worked.
It works. And it
Yeah,
still
it just
does.
worked.
I mean, you have it for years. It's heirloom quality stuff,
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
exactly.
I don't know if these Vimanas are heirloom quality, but um,
I think they might be. If you have
yeah,
one in the garage, I think you'll get a good penny for it.
yeah, really.
Right? Can you
Based on the Vedas and the descriptions, like this is what people keep coming up with based like on literal description. This is what like the
It's the
Vimanas look like.
airship. It's an
Yes.
airship. It's awesome. I'm
Here's
so feeling this right now. This
Jennifer's
is
little air balloon over here.
yes, this is where I am right now, you all. I'm all here with the airships. It's
You got
something
these little Hindi guys over here chatting amongst themselves, and the one guy's pointing up in the sky. Stop talking and look what I'm pointing at over here with this thing flying around over here. Don't you see
but
that
they
thing
look like
flying?
it's normal. It doesn't look shocking. He's probably the
Right.
owner of it. Doesn't he look like the guy who's
Yeah, like he's showing it off. Like he just
he's
bought
like,
it.
look at I send it up there. It's now on remote control.
Let's see here. In the Hindu text, Vamanika, or however you say that, Shastra, where it is stated that the Hindu Vimanas had the capacity to fly with a great speed through the terrestrial atmosphere. Ooh, not just extraterrestrial, but terrestrial atmosphere, underwater and through oceans. While researching the Vedas ancient texts, including around 50 of the Mahabharata texts, Sir Desmond Leslie concluded that the ancient chariots or flying machines called Vimanas were actually anti-gravity vehicles, which I also believe that, again, knowing what we know about sound and frequency and that kind of stuff, I believe some of these things could actually be levitating, based on that, not necessarily, or these Mercury vortex kind of deals.
Absolutely.
Here's a
Can
better
you
picture.
repeat the last thing you said, the last sentence? Can you repeat? Because I'm taking notes. I'm sorry. Can you repeat that one?
Crap. What did I just say?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Like, what did I just say?
You were saying anti-gravity, but you said something else after that.
Oh, the frequency. Like if instead of if using frequency to levitate objects, whether it's flying vehicles or whatever. So, I mean, I guess that would be anti-gravity if you could use sound to levitate objects and or mercury vortexes.
Right.
Is that what you're looking for? Mercury
No,
vortex?
it was something. Maybe it was in the text you read. Like it was something maybe it was something you were just saying.
Let's see here.
I'll catch up with it, but it was cool. I'm capturing things. I take so many notes. Like
I don't know who wrote this, but how some people trip you up when you try to read it because they're not phonetically, or they're not, the words aren't put in the right order, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like this says the China, some Sanskrit documents were discovered in Lhasa, Tibet. The documents contain directions for building a Vimana, and their method of propulsion was based on a system analogous to that of Lakhima telepathy. Never heard that one. Being's physiological makeup, a centrifugal force strong enough to counteract all gravitational pull. And that's why I strongly believe the whole Mercury vortex, because I do believe the centrifugal force, and they talk about, whether they're, from other planets or aliens or whatever, but a lot of these vehicles that they talk about, especially in the last 50, 60 years, or 70 years now, they and a lot of technologies that kind of get leaked out, like from Bob Lazar and these others, they always talk about vortexes. They talk about Mercury vortexes and other types of vortexes that counteract the effect of gravity.
right.
So according to the Hindu yogis, it is this Lakima, which enables a person to levitate.
Wow.
And that brings up a whole nother subject, because I've seen this is like when I was watching X-Files, of course. So would have been the mid to late 90s.
Mhm.
I kept coming across these videos, like when the interwebs was starting to get new and people were starting to, you'd find all these chat, because everybody had chat rooms. There wasn't like websites. It was always chat
Right.
rooms.
Chat rooms, message boards. I remember that.
MySpace. And
Oh, I wasn't on MySpace. I didn't get to enjoy
I wasn't either.
But I know
But
my daughter and her generation loved MySpace.
But I kept running across these videos of these yogis
Mhm.
that were levitating. Even if it was like a foot above the ground or 6 inches above the ground, they were literally levitating. And
Yep.
It
And
was-
and think about how they've oh, you know what? I have to take that back. I was on MySpace because I had to police my daughter, and so I gave away my cover. I had to have an account so I could police all the young people in my family. So that was why I had a MySpace. But think about this, John, and everybody. You see how they've taken the word levitation and turned it into something very wicked that would make a person who has like a background like a Christian, we would be like so turned off, like, oh no, levitation, that's all evil, that's the devil.
Right.
But like,
it's demons.
you see how now I'm starting to question everything. Like, they've kept us away from even that concept, making it something that the devil empowers people to do.
Right.
Wow.
So I kept running across that stuff, and then this made me think of you too, because
Oh, what is this? Oh my gosh, is this a bathroom?
yeah, rich bathroom facilities like those of the Dedal Palace in Poland were present in all buildings of previous civilization, referring to Tartarian civilization. Probably many were destroyed by the parasitic barbarians, which they seem to use a lot in this channel, of the current civilization, just as they were declared non-existent by some YouTubers from the Jesuit community. They use that a lot too, but because apparently
what's the name of that
Jesuits.
place? What?
But look at that.
If my mother saw this, do you guys know my mother is a bath obsessed person? Like, she would never get out of the bathtub. Like, that is so. What was that thing? The name of it? I've got to look. John has John. It's called
Dedal Palace in Poland. Dietel Palace.
Has anybody ever seen this place? Poland is another country. I haven't done a deep dive on Poland, but I sense it's something.
Well, that whole area, that kind of would have fallen under the whole Tartaria, with Russia, Czechoslovakia, Poland.
Yeah, it wasn't all divided up. That was all, I have to keep remembering that. They were all, even in Finland and Denmark, and that was all the same stuff.
And North America too, part of North America. I mean, it was, we call it insane in the Ukraine right now, but
insane in the Ukraine.
For those of you that remember your late 80s, early 90s,
yes, wow.
urban contemporary music.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't rap, it was urban contemporary.
I love it.
So I want to kind of sort of try to end with this, because I've got a lot of other videos. Maybe I'll save them for next time. But there's a series, I can't remember the dude's name, but it's called Cultural Cover Up.
Like the name.
And he's like, what's his name? He puts time to everything.
Okay.
And he puts a chronological order to stuff that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But there's this guy, he has this, how people floated around the idea of, like, obviously the Matrix and this whole thing is a simulation hologram, kind of thing. And I'm not going to play this whole thing. I'm going to play like a snippet of it.
Okay.
But this is very interesting to me. Never heard this theory before, but it's very interesting. don't know why. I don't know why they have that picture of that chick on the couch there, but it's
What's their thing? Maybe.
I guess. But there's a gentleman, I can't remember his name. They mention him here. But I think it's around 150 where he starts really where it picks up here. Well, let me do about 1 minute here.
Universe is expanding, but it's just a mushroom cloud, and it'll reach a point where then it'll just start falling back down on itself.
Yeah.
Then it condenses into a black
And then
hole,
blows up again.
and we shoot up out the other side of a white hole.
Oh,
And it's just a never-ending thing. It's just-
that can't be his theory though. That's
no,
like
that's an old
that's
an
a
old one.
common.
But in the 20s, he was kind of that was kind of a far out thing. to
True.
be hitting
It was
people
far
with.
out.
This is a true, what I would call garage podcast, because even though it's not in a garage,
Mhm.
these guys are like chilling out. He's got his feet
I
up
like
in the ottoman. His microphone's like right in his face. This dude's not even facing him. He's in like a dining chair over here with his headset on.
Then they got the
Cat-
picture. It's like, what's
You got
going
this
on?
young lady over here, and you got this dude over here, and he's probably like the friend that nobody wants to hang out with, but since he knows this is happening, they let him hang out there, and these whatever.
You see the
Um,
other guy on the phone.
The guy's on the phone over here, and he's holding a Mr. microphone or something right there.
He's probably
So this
doing
is like-
research right now. You know what
He
I'm
probably
saying?
is.
Yeah, he's just looking
But
up
listen-
stuff.
Listen to what there's like a short like clip here.
I heard that at the
Not
Harrisburg Area
this.
Community College.
Did you really?
It expands and then comes back together,
Yeah.
and you could relive this exact life for infinity. So you better make it the most of it.
True. Black hole, white hole, dude.
Yeah.
It stretches space time, and it gets so heavy it condenses into a tiny thing, and then it goes out of the white hole
Shoots
New
out of the
universe.
white hole.
right to the black hole. Pretty tight.
Working from the widely accepted Big Bang Theory, Bentov presents a conceptual model to depict the process of time-space evolution, the relative position of the universal hologram. That hologram is often called a torus because it is thought to have the overall shape of an immense, self-contained spiral. Basing his thesis on recent studies concerning the distribution of quasars, quasi-stellar objects, and operating on the premise that in the universe, smaller processes tend to be mirror images of larger ones. For example, the pattern of electrons around the nucleus of an atom mirrors the way planets orbit their suns. Bentov postulates the following scenario. Taking his cue from the observed capability of quasars to eject enormously concentrated beams of matter from their interiors in a controlled, non-concentric version of the Big Bang, he envisages a similar process occurring in the generation of the universe. Noting that those galaxies located to the north of our own galaxy are moving away faster than those located to the south, and that those to the east and west are demonstrably more distant, Bentov regards this as substantive evidence that the jet of matter which expanded into our universe has turned back upon itself, eventually forming an ovoid or egg shape. He sees matter in our universe entering the ovoid pattern, following ejection from a nucleus composed of extremely compressed energy through a white hole. At the end of its trip to the far end of the ovoid, he sees it departing via a black hole. In such a model, time is observed to be a measure of the change which occurs as energy evolves into new, more complex forms as it progresses along the distance from the white hole side of the nucleus, around the shell of this cosmic egg until it enters the black hole. In other words, as energy, expelled from infinity and confined within limits by the conscious of the absolute, achieves form and motion following ejection from the white hole at the top of the egg, time begins as a measure of the cadence of this evolutionary movement as reality goes around the shell of the egg on its journey to the black hole at the far end. The observed distribution of galaxies suggests that our particular universe is located near the top of the egg, at the point where matter begins to fall back on itself, thus explaining the reason why the galaxies to the north are seen to be moving away more rapidly, as they are caught up in the downturn of the stream of matter towards the far end of the cosmic egg. Layered over this cosmic egg is the absolute, which sustains the radiating nucleus from which the original jet of matter issued forth. As the stream of matter moves around the ovoid towards its destination at the black hole, where it will be reabsorbed into the radiating nucleus and then the absolute, it generates the interference pattern within the cosmic egg which constitutes the universal hologram or torus. Since the torus is being simultaneously generated by matter in all the various phases of time, it reflects the development of the universe in the past, present, and future. as it would be seen from our particular perspective in one phase of time. By reflecting on this model, it becomes possible to see how human consciousness, brought to a sufficiently altered state, could obtain information concerning the past, present, and future, since they all exist in the universal hologram simultaneously. In the case of the future, because all of the consequences of the past and present can be seen coming together in the hologram, such that the future can be predicted or seen with total accuracy. Moreover, it is possible to see how the implosion of energy.
That's the point I wanted to get across, because we've talked about the Looking Glass project and that kind of stuff. This perfectly describes the process of the Looking Glass and what's entailed
Yes.
in that.
Wow.
Being able to, and I've brought this up before,
Mhm.
that everything exists simultaneously, the past, present, future, yada yada yada.
Right.
And
Oh,
so being able to, like, as he states here, if you're in the right whatever frequency, right state of mind, whatever it is, you could
Right.
you could simultaneously observe the past, present, and future, um, with accuracy, because you can see it, like, because it's all there, and you can see all the consequences of different things. And so I just, for whatever reason, that just caught my attention this week. I don't know why, just did.
powerful. That's a powerful thing to end off. Like, oh boy, this one has my gears are going. This is great. This was great, John. Right, everybody? John, you brought it. This is good. This is woo. The
It's,
receipts.
like I said, some weeks are better than others, but I think the longer this plays out, this whole, whatever's happening with our matrix, our narrative, whatever, it's almost like synchronicity starts jumping in. You start seeing things, you start hearing things, you start picking up a piece of the puzzle over here, you start picking up a piece over here, and you start, and it kind of all, even though it seems unrelated, it kind of all fits together, and it kind of just, like, it's exciting. It's just that the stuff still is there to be found.
Right. And that's the beauty of it, is that they can't get away with a perfect crime. They've gotten away with things only because maybe they worked within their allotted time, I'll say, that they had to operate. Now it's just they can't do the things they used to do. I mean, it's evident all around us. It's crashing down. Prior to 2020, we were all, I don't know about you all, but I felt like I was just really plugged in. I was part of the machine, but not, but then I was. I've never felt more outside of, I've always been an outsider, but now I'm such an outsider. But I don't mind. I don't want to be an insider. This is the one time I don't want, no thank you. My RSVP, nope. I'm washing my hair that day. I can't, something suddenly came up. Right? What had happened was the dog ate my homework. I can't come to the reception. Sorry. I mean, I don't want to be invited. I don't know. No, I'm staying home.
This is going to be Jennifer, not too distant future here.
Totally. Okay. In Scotland. Okay. Or Iceland. Somewhere. Yes, totally. Let me tell you, and I got to have a kayak. I want, see, transportation is I think is a human right. Transportation. You can be a nomad, whatever they call them, gypsies. You all been called a gypsy. Go ahead and embrace it. Have fun.
I don't know about that, but yeah.
Well, this looks like Burning Man. They went.
Well, that's Vice, of course. Vice is one of the best news sources on the planet.
No, but I'm all for a breakaway colony. Just all I'm talking about is nothing weird. It's just, hey, can we just make things work again? Can we be humans? Can we eat butter instead of margarine? Can we get rid of canola oil and high fructose corn syrup? I don't have a lot of demands. That's all.
Look at the reality shows that are gaining traction over the last couple of years or so. It's off the grid kind of reality shows. Like, you got these people that are like living in Alaska, and they're living way out in the middle of nowhere. And you got like these 3 or 4 families, and they're just
There you go.
only reason I know that's because every time I go visit my dad, that's what he's watching half the
He's watching-
time is that
Yes,
show.
I think some of us are being pulled, and that's part of why I'm gonna just say this. This is just a thought that's coming to me. We wanted to see Jojo Magoo go to Guam. We wanted to see it all happen at one time, but when you think about it, it wouldn't have been a good thing to let it collapse suddenly, because what did we have in its place? You see,
Right.
you have to build another infrastructure so that you can escape Babylon. You can't, I mean, if you wanted it to crash down in the election, what did we have? You would have had what? I'm just saying. You didn't want to have a police state, did you? Want to live in martial law and all that? No, we want something where we ease on down the road out of Jojo Magoo's world and live in a world where we can just be human again and just raise our families where our kids can go and play outside. Nobody's going to snatch them. You know, you don't have to get jabbed up. You can just, you don't even need your pals because nobody wants to steal from you. We don't have their money system anymore. We don't do that anymore. So we barter, and everybody has a boat. You go fish, you go raise your food. If you want to eat meat, whatever you want to eat, you raise it, right?
Think about why people like Bill Gates, BlackRock, and other mega billionaires and corporations are buying up all the rural land. They want you in these urban communities. They don't want you to go out into nature and into, you know, it's like a treat. Like you can't, like you should not be able to access
only
that.
Weirdos do it, right? They want you to think only weird people want to go in nature. It's dirty and dangerous, right? Come to the smart city where your TV wakes you up every day. Come and check in with me, and then you blow into something that tells you what to eat today. Oh, if you want to lose weight, eat an apple. Here's your apple.
Your bionic implant tells you it's time to go to bed or it's time to go to whatever, you know.
And then you get how many hours? Oh, you've been a bad citizen. You can only be on Instagram for 2 minutes.
That's right.
They want you in a smart city, in a grid, on an electrical leash. But we, the human beings who are not able to be changed, as Girl Code always says, we're not able to be altered. That's why they don't like us. That's why we're on the fringes of society, because they can't afford to have us talking to the people. And so, you know, they know that we were going to want to do this, because when you think about their movies that they've had for all these years, it's always a breakaway colony, isn't it? It's always the same story. They had to leave their home, breakaway colony. They're nomadic. Some people, they would never leave their hometown. They would die before they left their hometown. But you have to be flexible in this new world. You have to be nimble, because maybe you need to bug out for a year. Some people were not willing to bug out for any time, because I asked a question to people. I said, if you had to, just for maybe 3 months, I said 6 or 3 months, and go live in like a wooded, you know, those little wooded shelters that look like fairy shelters, like the people are doing. And I was thinking a breakaway group of people, you went up into the woods and you built little temporary shelters, and you just cooked outside, and you had water, you tapped into a water source, a glacier or something, and everybody just, you know, hung out for maybe 6 months until the block wasn't hot anymore. And you know what some people said to me? They said, nope, I couldn't do it. So that lets you know that some people are not ever going to leave Babylon. And that's just like the Bible. Some people never wanted to leave Sodom and Gomorrah. They never wanted to leave Nineveh. But sometimes I'm just saying, hypothetically, are you willing to do it? If it had to be like just for a little while, would you be but you have to be in a survival mentality, and you have to know we've been domesticated so long that even if you were a Girl Scout, Boy Scout, some of these people wouldn't know how to survive. These are the things you have to be able to do. Find water source, be able to
Mhm.
make your disposable things in a hygienic way, and you have your food, your shelter. Could people
Get a survival book like Jen has.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Wait a minute.
seriously,
No, I'm
even
serious.
if you
I
even
got
if you
it.
learn only a couple things out of it, you're going to be far ahead of a lot of other people.
No, and I
And
thought when I bought it that I was being negative because you know your program, you're like, why would I
right,
buy
yeah,
a book like that? I'm bringing that on. No,
yeah,
I'm not thinking that because some people will have you like that, but you'll never be able to, like you said, this is what I bought. It's Outdoor Life, How to Survive Anything. And they have the zombie apocalypse in here, which I was going to, Karen, you want me to do that as a video, right? But you know
and you
what?
better start
I'm afraid.
picking your friends now. You got to pick your friends that have some skills. You know, you don't want to like get shacked up or saddled with some people that are like going to weigh you down. You know.
I thought that people would get mad if I did this, but I think I will because Karen requested that I do the zombie run.
Well, you got to have cardio for if it's a zombie apocalypse, you got to have cardio. So if you ever watch the movies, Zombieland,
No, I haven't seen it.
oh my god,
I
oh
can't
my god,
which
that's like the X-Files. That Zombieland is almost required watching. You have to. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh.
I love it.
This kid has like his 10 rules, like they're unbreakable rules to survive the zombie apocalypse, and they come up during the movie. It's like
Okay.
one of them's cardio, and it's like, oh my gosh,
Really,
it's hilarious.
you know, people even this is another thing that I used to tell people like if you need to get your weight under control, this is the time to do it. Like you may want to dial back your meals that you eat every day so you condition yourself to eat less. And it's not that you're being negative, it's good for you to do. Just cut back.
Yeah.
And if you have to do intermittent fasting and things like that, get your body used to, if you have a bicycle, I don't know. I don't even trust to tell you to go and bike because the zombie apocalypse is going on. The people that are dumb, they are the zombies. That's you know, and they're on the phone, they're driving. So I don't even trust bike riding in places half the time. But if you have a safe place you can ride and you want to start getting your body used to, like you say, cardio, that's not a bad idea because if you have to do more physical things, like say we are doing you got chicken coops now. You never did that. You lived in the city. Now you're keeping chicken. So you're going to have to be able to move around different. So you get your body used to maybe riding a bicycle. What's wrong with that? Right?
Mhm.
Maybe the cars might look at the gas, look at what they're doing with the cars. You may want to be able to have another alternative.
You got to be able to Mad Max this stuff. You got to figure it out.
Think
You
think
gotta,
about it, you know, and if you're willing, at least mentally, you can survive. Some people are so rigid that they will not do well because they're like, well, they don't want to learn. They don't even want to think about this stuff. They get scared. They're scared to talk about it.
and I personally don't think it's likely to happen, but people should always know those skills because you never know when something's going to go off the rails, even if it's for a year or
That's
6
what I'm
months.
saying.
Or,
It could be a
you
short
know,
period. Yes.
and it's, you know, and I think depending on the state you live in too, you might have a different experience in some states because
Mhm.
I feel sorry for the people in California as opposed to like the people in Texas, for example.
Mhm.
Like if your state was a person.
I have to say though, in California's defense, I live there and I know it's wackadoodle, but they have pockets of really like base.
I know.
I mean, they're really base people in
I
California.
actually believe California is a red state.
It
I
is.
believe.
They've psyoped us to think that it's not, but they've just run away like just criminal. It's just they use Soros and everything and Nancy Pelosi, and they made things look a certain way. But The ones that are still hanging in California, they're pretty they're strong people because they, nothing wrong with leaving. I mean, I left California.
Especially like in Northern California, like there seems to be a little more like when you get into like the more forested areas and the hilly areas, and you seem to have a little bit different
different vibes,
like pockets, like even in Southern California too, towards like San Diego and that kind of stuff, and towards the border there.
Yep.
There seems to be just
they're based, as Salty says, it's a bunch of based people out in those areas. The weirdos are in the cities, that's Seattle and Portland, and you think the whole state's like that. But they're like they're not all like that, and they want to get rid of those cities themselves. They don't want that crap in their state, but they live off the grid, but that's, you say pockets, and I listen to Paul Romano. He's like hilarious, but he knows how to live. Like he's self-sustaining. Like this is a lifestyle. I've listened to him for years. Paul's been on YouTube for years, but he has a channel called Pockets of the Future, and he's been pushing this for so long. Like it's part of what he has been trying to teach people. Even though he does the funny commentary, he gives a lot of truth. It's like taking sweetness and then giving the message with a little honey. He gives the comedy, but that's what he calls it. And that's what that's what it is. Pockets of the Future are little communities, you call them communes, whatever. Those are the people that will survive.
Mm-hmm.
They will.
And hopefully this doesn't do anything to the channel, but I don't care anymore. I mean, seriously, I don't. I got other alternatives if we need to move to them. And those people that still have immune systems are going to survive a lot longer too. When you're not afraid to touch the dirt once in a while, and you're playing outside, you get in the garden, you're working on your car, you got whatever, you pick up your hamburger and you start eating it, and you forgot to wash your hands, and you're like, the people's, it's like George Carlin said it perfectly, and I have the video clip, of course, but I don't know where it's at. He said this, it was funny at the time, but it's actually a very serious thing. It's like you have an immune system and it needs practice. It needs practice.
Exactly. I love it.
And that's, you remember, like, I'll end with a couple memes because I always have to end with a couple memes, but to kind of balance the nerdy side with the derelict side, whatever.
No, it's not. No, it's.
But I remember we would get done like playing volleyball or whatever, because I played a lot of volleyball as a kid, and sports in general, but I loved volleyball, beach volleyball especially.
Oh, nice.
We would always be at the places that had like 10-cent wings and $4 pitchers and that kind of stuff. We'd play till like 2 a.m.
Wow.
But
nice.
this meme kind of encapsulates living in Ohio in the wintertime and still needing that food fix in the middle of the night kind of thing.
I love Ohio, by the way. You go. Oh, no. That's funny.
I mean, it was like, back then Taco Bell was affordable. It still sort of is now, but it was a lot more affordable back then. Like 4 tacos for $1 or whatever it was, and
chalupa.
And they weren't racist back then. You could have that little Chihuahua dog. I love that Chihuahua dog. He was.
Wait a minute. They got rid of it because of. I didn't know. I never knew that they got rid of the dog, the little Chihuahua, because.
They said it was because it was racist or something like that. It was making fun of Hispanics or whatever. I
never knew that. I just thought they went with a different direction.
That was the only reason I watched the damn commercials, was that dog. I love that dog.
Cute.
Especially when the movie Godzilla came out with Matthew Broderick, whatever. Taco Bell was doing all the cups and all this other stuff. And
I see. No, I get it. I don't know what,
the little Taco Bell dog was like, you okay with Taco Bell? Or wasn't doing his thing. and Godzilla come up behind him and scream, and he just like, you know, his ears were flapping and stuff. It were just funny commercials. Like you wanted to go to Taco Bell because just you didn't know why. You just wanted to go to Taco Bell. Besides, it was cheap, you know.
Oh, I never knew that. Wow. Oh, okay.
And then like this is one or two more, some select ones here.
It's so shocking. You can't, like, you have Stockholm syndrome because you tell yourself, no, they're really not trying to unalive us all.
I like that, unalive us.
They really are trying to unalive us. It's so your cognitive dissonance like keeps telling you, no, they're not that evil. I think maybe I'm tripping. And then you're like, no, I'm not tripping. You go to the supermarket and you read the ingredients, you're like, they are trying to unalive us all.
Like,
oh my god. Especially if he goes out and bites people and gives them rabies. And you're like, but he got the rabies. I can't take these. Wait a minute, hold it, keep it up a minute. Can I read it? I couldn't even read it for laughing. Oh my gosh. Oh my god, I need air.
all right, one more. Was there one more here?
God, y'all.
I'm gonna have to start putting them chronologically because there's some over the last couple of weeks that I couldn't stop laughing. And now since I like labeled them, they're like mixed in. I'm like, I gotta scroll through like the thousands of them that that exist in this folder. And let's see here. Where'd it go? I think I know.
Did you see Karen's comment? She said, I never zombies. That's really funny, Karen.
I never seen zombies swim. I'll build a trench of water. There you go.
That's funny. Oh my gosh, this is so funny.
Let's see here. We've done the trunk monkey stuff in the past, right?
Yes.
Oh, here's one of the ones I was talking about earlier. Actually, I can't believe I found this one, but look what it says in the box.
Open box. Yeah, I can't believe it. See, this is the kind of thing that I would tell myself, no, somebody just with a sense of humor, they went and photoshopped that. That's not real. They don't really have that on pizza boxes. I refuse to believe that. I refuse to believe that they have to tell people to open the box. When can we leave? When can we leave? Can everybody get their stuff together? Go get rid of all your extra stuff you don't need. The airship is coming to get us. We're going to an island for a year, just a year. Come on, everybody. Karen, you can have your tree house. Somebody will know how to build it. You might know how to build it. I don't know. I can't assume anything. Maybe we'll have Amish that'll come with us, right? And they'll build your. Can you imagine an Amish builder building your treehouse?
That that would be awesome. Except nowadays, the Amish are onto a little bit of the like they like the money now. So that Amish, even though it would be built like a brick shit house, it would be the bomb. It would also cost you everything you ever owned to build it.
That well, in this system it would. I'm talking about we're up out of here. The Amish friends that come with us, they're going to be like, we're barter. I don't know. They're going. We need the Amish. We need them to come with us because they know things. They know how. We need those kind of people. Come on into our breakaway community, and you can be Amishy. You could be outside of even us, which I don't think they. I don't know. Can you imagine getting to a place where we could integrate with the Amish people? Like we could all just be on the same frequency. Like I don't know, the free energy frequency.
Right.
All I'm saying. I'm just saying.
That's right. Maybe and I'll end with this, and I'll end with this dumbass comment I'm going to make. You know, maybe like you remember the movie Waterworld?
I didn't see that movie. I know, right? I haven't seen a lot of movies like you would think. That was one I didn't. I don't know. I wasn't interested. I didn't see it.
Well,
but now
that's
I
kind of like the concept. Everybody's living on these floating platforms, these floating
really
ships, cities, whatever. Like there's no land supposedly around, and they're like
really?
driving around on these jet skis and crap. And so like all these little communes on the water kind of thing. And you know, that's what it kind of reminds me of.
See, now I'm wishing I saw a lot of these movies because they were giving a lot of information. I know.
This particular gentleman makes a statement that perfectly sums up what we're living in right now. And with the legacy controlled media, you know, the enemy of the people, yada, 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 with the, you know, the tech companies, with all of these 1%ers that are trying to do what they're doing. This perfectly sums it up. And you might have to read it a couple times.
Ooh.
It's for somebody from back whenever his heyday was.
That's deep. That's real deep.
It's very true. It's absolutely paints a perfect picture of what's happening right now. It's difficult to get a man to understand something when his salary depends upon his not understanding it.
That is everything. Everything. That's why people are silent because they don't want to listen.
Well, look at news anchors and everybody else in the news, knowing that something is patently false, but continually gaslighting people. So if your salary depends on you not understanding it, it's like just do your job.
I don't say they do themselves. I have a cousin who's a journalist. I know a few of them, and we don't speak to this day because she's mad that I won't go along with the script. But I'm looking at her now and I'm like, how could you do this for a check? Like, it's time to leave your profession if you have to hold up lies like that. I don't respect that. I don't. I
don't either. And, you know, hopefully that will change in the near future here, but we'll see. But it's going to take everybody. It's going to take people, you know, I use this phrase a lot and other people use this phrase a lot. See something, say something. You know, I don't care where it is, what context it's in. If somebody's doing some dumbass, pardon my French, shit, if somebody's saying something that's false, that you know is false, that you can prove is false, call them out on it. These people are not used to being called out on anything.
Exactly. And that's why they're freaking out, because we were too busy to call them out. And the people that did call them out, they had an easier time pushing them to the fringes. Like they were the ones with the sandwich board. The end is near. The end is near. Right? They're like, that's the crazy guy in the subway again, talking about the end is near. And now we're like, oh, where are the crazy subway people? They were telling us, they were warning us. We were walking by every day telling them, get out of my way, I'm trying to get to work. And they were like, but the end is here.
And if this is probably another movie you haven't seen, but have you seen Independence Day?
No, I haven't.
With Wilson?
Yeah.
You have seen that?
Yeah. Shocking. I did see that one.
If you want a motivational uplift, even though it's kind of a hokey movie, if you want a motivational uplift, listen to I can't remember the name of the actor's name, but anyway, he plays the president. Listen to his speech on the morning of July 4th, Independence Day, in this movie. It's almost like it transcends all other movies. Like you could take that and take it out of that movie and put it in other situations. It is like, it's so inspiring. Even though it's in that hokey kind of movie, it's just like every time I listen to it, it's like I feel like I'm on South Park. It's like, fuck yeah, I want to go like get rid of some of these narrative dudes and gals and whatever. It's like I want to go fight the good fight, you know. And but the key concept of it though is the brilliant part is that we're fighting together as humanity. It's not United States, it's not China, it's not India, it's all of us fighting this common enemy.
Yep.
And who knows, maybe it'll take a fake alien invasion to bring the world together, you know, with a common enemy, maybe that's what it would take. People would forget about their problems locally and whatever. They would think globally for once. And who knows, but I'm telling you, if you want a uplift, that speech is crazy. It's good. Even if you just don't watch the whole movie, just watch that speech. Just do it.
Look, I don't even I'm sorry, I don't remember. Like I don't know, with some movies it's like, our attention, I don't know. I remember certain
I'd play it right now, but I think I'd get a copyright strike or something.
Oh yeah. They probably would. Yeah. I hear they're weird about those things. It depends.
Not like this channel's monetized anyway, but
it depends. Like certain studios are more, strict about stuff. You never know which one it'll be like that'll do it, and then it'll just cause. It's not worth it.
I usually just click the button that says "cut it out" or whatever.
Yeah, you could do that. But you know what they do when you do that? It gets rid of your chat. Then you can't.
That's true.
And then it'll get rid of your chat. And sometimes the chat is like it's so needed because I've had people tell me they like to read the chat. So people are reading chats because they get information because we're all sharing. It's not just a chat. It's like a message board, like the old message boards, right? Or it's like we're sitting out on the porch talking to each other.
Let's see here. I'm going to do it. I'm going to find it. I'm going to do it.
Oh, wow.
Screw you, YouTube.
Uh-oh. I'm getting my popcorn. See, I didn't eat really today, you guys. That's why I'm doing this popcorn. That's what I do. I don't.
We'll end with this. And then I'll say my goodbyes. Jennifer say her goodbyes, and then she'll go to her popcorn. I'll go to whatever I got going on upstairs. And then but if you haven't seen the movie, I'll just play this one. It kind of builds up through the movie, the tension and all the like the angst and everything else, so that really makes this speech pop. So we're gonna play it. We're gonna do it. We're gonna play it. So I miss one video out of my playlist on YouTube. Who cares? We'll go with this.
Okay.
Since it's at the end. I'm sure there's a commercial, but we'll see here.
Go for it, John.
Morning. They're a little young.
That they are.
They look a little nervous.
I need all flight crews to report to their designated areas immediately.
Major. Arlen, sir.
Crank it.
Good morning.
In less than an hour, aircraft from here will join others from around the world. And you will be launching the largest aerial battle in the history of mankind. Mankind, that word should have new meaning for all of us today. We can't be consumed by our petty differences anymore. We will be united in our common interest. Perhaps fate today is the 4th of July. And you will once again be fighting for our freedom. Not from tyranny, oppression, or persecution, but from annihilation. We're fighting for our right to live, to exist. And should we win the day, the 4th of July will no longer be known as an American holiday, but as the day when the world declared in one voice, we will not go quietly into the night. We will not vanish without a fight. We're going to live on. We're going to survive. Today, we celebrate our Independence Day.
When Randy Quaid's in a movie, man, you gotta love it.
I love Randy Quaid when he talked about the star whackers, right? Do you remember that? No, he's a truther. He's either a paid opposition or a truther. He's
Randy's a true red-blooded American, man.
I like him.
He's.
Did you see the press conference though when he started like dropping the truth? If you guys want to hear him drop some truth, go look up his press conference.
Yeah, him and I'd like to hang out at your commune or whatever island with him.
Bring
Ted
Randy
Nugent.
Quaid. Bring Randy Quaid.
Yeah, Randy Quaid, Ted Nugent. Ted's bringing the music, man. Ted's a red-blooded American too. He just John Voight. Who else?
You want like Russell Brand there? Is he a real guy or is he opposition?
He seems to be kind of trying to keep the good stuff going, like keeping the red pill stuff going and exposing. So I didn't like him as an actor, like in Arthur and that kind of stuff, but I totally respect. Yes, Dan Aykroyd, James Woods, absolutely, those are two good ones. Especially Dan Aykroyd. You cannot have at least one Ghostbuster, and because you never know what you're gonna have in these island communes or whatever. Like with
Don't we want Roseanne Barr? Don't we want Roseanne Barr?
Roseanne would be all right. Yeah, she would.
I'd like to sit down with Roseanne and kick it with her. I swear. I don't know. It's something about her.
Shirley MacLaine.
Shirley, no, we're not. No, Shirley MacLaine could stay.
Mel Gibson. There you go.
Yeah, we'll take Mel.
Mad Max himself. We could do a production of Passion of the Christ or something. And
no. I don't like when they beat up Jesus like that. I don't like that movie. I'll tell Mel.
Well, I don't either, but I think I like that movie because of that, because it shows people how brutal it was, what he endured for everybody. I mean,
I thought I liked it at one time, but now I don't know. I changed, you guys. It was like I started seeing it as like a trauma, like a trauma, like they were belittling Christ, like they were mocking him by doing. I don't know. This is my new opinion. I changed with a lot of my opinions, but yeah. Oh, they're saying they want Roseanne. Can you imagine? Like, I would love to just kick it with Roseanne and just talk. She reminds me of my Aunt Eleanor, my late Aunt Eleanor. One day I was watching her live stream and all these people were getting on her last doggone nerves. They were like, "Oh my God, Roseanne, you need to get a new show. You need another show." And she said, this was the best line ever. You could tell it was getting on her nerves reading that. They were like, "You need a show." She said, "This is my show." It was like a mic drop. It was like, are you that dumb? You're literally watching her on YouTube and you're saying she needs a show. She's like this. She just couldn't take it, John. She said, in the way that she does it, she said, "This is my show." I almost fell out of my seat. I was like, I love this woman. It was awesome. I'll never forget the day that she did that. I giggle snorted so much. She's my kind of people.
Yep, absolutely. And the reason this one's gone a little longer is because I'm going to be traveling this week, and we're probably not going to have one next Monday because I'll be.
You're getting on the airship, the Zeppelin.
It'll be the first time I'm flying in years or a while since all this crap started, but because I drive everywhere.
No
now.
mask, right? You don't have to wear a mask. Oh my
No,
God.
like apparently not anyway. Who knows?
That's good.
So I will not be around to be able to do a show on Monday. I'm not sure when we're coming back next week. It might be Tuesday or Wednesday, but so I didn't disappear. There's just
Okay. Thanks for
going to be
letting
a stretch where I'm going to be visiting and going to a conference and some other stuff, and
Okay.
so taking a little breaky. Some of it will be work related, some will be family related. So
Well, have a good time. Traveling mercies to you, brother.
thanks. So
Any
maybe I'll
good
get my
mud flood stuff. Just please take some pictures of mud floody things that we might like.
yeah. This will be in Florida, so I don't know if there's a lot of mud floody stuff down there.
Well, St. Augustine's, I think it is.
Yeah, I'll be farther south where it's limestone and sand. But hopefully I'll be able to get a chance to unwind a little bit, stick the feet in the sand, whatever, and have some what I call big ass nachos, because there's this place that I used to go to all the time when I was living there. I think it's still there. I think it's called Ollie's Oyster Bar. It's in like just north of Port Richey, Florida, on the coast, like Hudson Beach area. It was like the little roads that go back to the beach area. Like there's two roads, they kind of V into each other, and at that V there's this little place called Ollie's Oyster Bar. And when I was kind of doing my beach bum thing for a little while after I moved from Tennessee to there, I spent like a solid 60 to 90 days doing nothing but hanging out, driving around, being a beach bum, and having these big ass nachos. They had like this special on these nachos, like literally they had like these metal tubs, like they were like literally like this big.
Really?
And I went in there one day, the first time. I was sitting at the bar, which it's like an open like air kind of thing, so like there's a door on one side, but it's open to the Gulf on the other. And there was this couple eating like these nachos, and it was like heaped, like they had this thing like this, and it was like heaped like literally like this big, and they seemed to be enjoying it. So
why
I said, so I got the menu, and they said, well, do you know what you want? I'm like, yeah, I want what they're eating.
Exactly.
And she's like, I said, I want a full order, because there was like a half order and a full order. I said, I want a full order of nachos. And the lady just started laughing. It was a British lady. It was a British husband and wife that owned it. I don't know if they still own it, but she started laughing.
No,
and she's like, are you sure you want a full order? I'm like, I'm hungry. I'm gonna have me at the time my favorite thing was like nachos and a Miller Lite Lime. That beer, like it had lime in it. It just tasted good, nice and refreshing on a hot day.
Sounds like a good combo. Yum.
So she goes, well, the one you're pointing at, that's a half order. I'm like,
you kid me.
What?
Oh no.
I said, well, okay, well then give me half. It was $5.99 for like that gigantic thing full of meat and chips and jalapenos and onions and tomatoes and sour cream and whatever else. It was just like, man, I could eat a lot, but I could not finish a half order of that. So put it
Maybe
in perspective.
they're still there because Florida didn't take part in a lot of the clown show stuff, so some of their restaurants may have survived. They might still be there.
Well, I know the building's still there. I don't know if it's changed hands, because this was would have been like in 2005 when I was going there. So this was like a while ago.
That's a while, yeah.
And I haven't been there.
Yeah, the restaurant industry is just, I don't know. You could have a place you loved, and I don't know, things happen and they're just not there. But
that was more of like when John was an independent person, kind of place to hang out, so
Yeah. Well, that's like
explains
a
why.
good phase to go through. You were a beach bum, as you call it, but I think that's a nice phase, to just like you were kind of off gridding it in a way.
I literally spent all my money, because I had a place in Tennessee. I had, 20 acres, horses, the whole 9 yards. And I ended up selling it to go to Florida, to be closer to my dad because he had gotten sick. And,
Right.
otherwise I never would have left Tennessee, to be honest with you.
Wow.
So I took whatever my proceeds were for the sale of the house,
Mhm.
and I lived off of that for like 3 months, and
I
I just
see. Excuse me.
did whatever I wanted.
Right.
I
Love it.
don't regret it one bit. I
Mm-mm.
could have paid off a car, did some other stuff, whatever.
But there's an experience. I think those things are they're priceless. To say you did it, you got it out of your system, as they say, or I don't know, not get it out of your system. Maybe you got it into your system.
But
right?
that experience kind of ties into what you're talking about. So I know what that feeling is like of not having the day-to-day, just everybody. It was like the cheers on the beach. Everybody knew who you were.
Right.
You walk into the place and it's like John, like Norm, whatever, it's just like,
That's nice.
knew what I like to eat and whatever. And I could literally walk to the beach and just sit there, listen to the water.
That's nice.
And just rinse and repeat every day, that kind of idea. I would travel up and down the coast, visit, all the little towns and all the little out of the way places and, that kind of stuff.
Beach communities are kind of off grid, and they do barter a lot in those little, like when you're in, in California, you go all up and down the little beach communities. There's a vibe that's different. And I think it's a good way of living when they are truly it's not a, tourist kind of thing, or people have rental properties, but people are a part of the community. I think those are great. You did a good thing.
First time I ever saw stilt houses too.
Oh,
there was an area called Arapica, and a lot of the houses, since they get a lot of flooding because they're close to the coast, but it's little lower than sea level, kind of like New Orleans. Whenever it rains hard, that kind of stuff, or the tide comes in. So a lot of the houses are on stilts, like literally, like there's no lower level. You got they're like literally the houses like you could park a boat underneath it, and
they have some of those in Cali. They have some on stilts in Cali.
I thought that was cool. I thought that was a unique, it would suck in a hurricane, but in a normal everyday situation, that's kind of a cool thing,
I think it is. I think it's nice.
Then, so long story short, going to be gone for a little bit, and so no show next Monday. We will. Julie and I are going together, and we're we've got a real estate thing to go to, but to stop and spend a few days with Pops, and
that's nice.
Have some smoked salmon.
Smoked salmon, yeah. Okay. Now we're talking.
Right.
Great. That's great. So you
have them in the Hamptons too, apparently.
Oh, they do?
Know that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Interesting. I think they have some along the coast of Georgia, some of the islands of, I think I did see a house on one of the islands where it was like near the cliffs or whatever, but it had stilts on part of it. So yeah.
And that, to me, that's another, like if you had, some of these had really beautiful like decks off the back, like where the bedroom would be or whatever. So like you literally just would have the water right there, like you'd sit out on the deck on your whatever lanai, chairs and whatever deck chairs, and have the little breeze blowing your little curtains and stuff. You wouldn't have to close the windows, kind of thing. And
exactly. They don't have a lot of bugs when you're real close to the beach. It seems like you can live with the open, like, what do they call that? No screens,
open air. Yeah. Like
air. Yeah. When you're closer, because it's like the negative ions and all that. It's like, this is so good for you. It's a biosphere, isn't it? Isn't that what they would?
Seems like once you get a little ways into the water, like some of the bugs don't follow you out there, but some do.
Like certain places, they don't have the bug problem. It just, not as much.
But that's just, it'd be so nice to just because I did it once before, slept by the water when I was in a volleyball tournament at
Mhm.
Virginia Beach, and this was like in 96, 7-ish, somewhere in there.
Mhm.
And so many of us came down from Ohio, like all the our normal teams, like our doubles teams, co-ed doubles teams, went down there, and we literally filled this, like the hotels and stuff. And so there was like, in my room, there was literally, for my $20, I didn't get to spend any time in the room. There was literally like 15 people in this room sleeping on the floor, the bed, the bathroom, wherever. So I took my little beach chair.
Mhm.
I went down on the beach, and I
Smart.
literally unfolded it, put a blanket on, and slept right by the water. And I listened
That's
to the
that's
waves.
an idea. You made out better than everybody. Wow, that's something I would do too. I'd be like, I'm fine. I'm gonna get a sleeping bag and go out here.
So I think that's why a stilt house would appeal to me, like
Mhm.
not as an everyday, like if you had to work and that kind of. It would be like if you could spend a month somewhere or whatever. Just
Yeah.
if you were going to write a book or something, or you're going to just
Oh, yeah, true.
contemplate the universe, I would go out on one of those stilt houses, and except for like the creepy people out on their little kayaks and crap, they're going by, like, so you'd have to like kind of pay attention a little bit to what you're doing. But or you got somebody on a big oil tanker out in the Gulf with some giant binoculars, just scanning the beach again. Got some fiddly bits over here.
I love it.
Anyway, so for those of you that stuck around this whole time, bless your hearts. Bless your hearts.
Wow.
Casey, Karen, whoever else is, Denise.
Thank you all.
I don't know if. Let's see here. I think we lost. Hold on a second here. I think we lost Sarah Grace early on, but either way, I'm glad you guys watched, and as always, Jennifer, it's been wonderful. Thank you so much for being on.
This has been fun. Thank you, John, for all this good hard work. You research and you find these. Oh my gosh! Please don't forget. Please, I want to see the pictures, like the tube, the filament or whatever. Yeah, and the mercury thing, and oh my god, fabulous. Thank you. Love you too, everybody. Casey, thank you. Love you.
Yes, and as always.
Yeah, I'll find out about that stuff to follow up on. But thank you. And I'm gonna go eat some real food because I've been eating.
Yeah, me too.
Real food.
And as always, go to Jennifer's channel. She's always putting out videos, and I like them because I can listen to them, because a lot of times she'll have a lot of beautiful imagery and music and stuff, and she narrates over it. And sometimes when you're sitting on the couch, sometimes it's easier to listen.
Yeah, I want to do more where you can listen, because I know that people have different needs. I'm starting to think about, like, even I want to do some content where even older people can connect with it if they're maybe not as mobile, or anybody that, because there are people that are homebound and they love the content. And if you make it so that maybe they could listen only, maybe they're on their boat, who knows? They might want to listen.
Right. Maybe them and their fiddly bits are in their stick house, their or whatever their
tree house, and they just want to listen. They're by the beach or something. Want to instead? It could be like audiobook kind of stuff. Maybe, I don't know, podcast, like a true podcast.
Easier to listen to than like Snoop Dogg and Kanye West and all those other dudes. They're like, or I will say that. From the 80s, 90s, I did like Digital Underground.
Yeah. I like.
For whatever reason, the guy had a shtick, and I liked it. He had his stupid little nose thing going on, and even had a song. What was it called? Do No Nose Job or something to that effect.
He did the Humpty Dance. And you know what? I have a quick funny story. when I lived in Atlanta, I went to Spelman College in Atlanta, and I went to this place. It was like a draft house. It was like they had this draft house place, and they would have concerts, but they had no seating. You just stand up. You know those kind of.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
Digital Underground was there. I'm talking. This is like the '80s, and Tupac was a dancer. He was just doing the little dancing in the back. That's all he was a dancer at the time. So the guy that did the Humpty thing, guess what? I'm in the crowd and I'm just, having my good time. I went by myself because it was like college kids in Atlanta. It was like, you got Georgia
Right,
Tech,
yeah.
everybody gets together. It was downtown. So I felt like I just want to go listen to Humpty dance and all that stuff. So guess what he did? Guess what the guy who he pointed me out. He said, "Come up here and dance with me." And I was like, when something happens, you're like, and I froze. He was like, "Come on up here. Don't be scared." And I was singled out. I was like, I don't know what happened. I froze. When you're in a situation, I froze and I couldn't move. And I was so embarrassed. I wanted to disappear because I did not want to go on stage with him. I liked the little song, but I wasn't going to go up there and have him do whatever. And I didn't go up. And guess what? Somebody from my college saw me and they were like, "I can't believe I was there that night. And I heard Humpty ask you to come up on the stage. You didn't do it." And I was like, can you believe that? I didn't know what to do, John. I was froze. I was like, what's happening right now? I can't even talk.
Yes, Karen, do the Humpty Hump.
And I'm not shy, but you know what I'm saying? Have you ever been in a situation?
Yeah, trust me.
You don't know what you're going to do until you're in the situation. And I was like a bump on the log. I was like a dum-dum. I was just like, I just looked. And I guess he was like, "What's wrong with her?" He was like, "Come on up. Come on." And people are looking at me like, what the heck's wrong with this woman? I don't know.
I was at a concert in Minneapolis at the State Theater. I think it was called the State Theater. This would have been back like in 99-ish.
Okay.
And Minneapolis, like Cleveland was big for rock and heavy metal and that kind of stuff.
Right.
Minneapolis was a little more for like the B-52s or the like the more poppy kind of emo-y kind of The Cure, that kind of stuff, And at that time, they were like, "Yeah, geez."
They were emo. That was pre-emo, The Cure, and I loved The Cure. I was all over it.
They're hiding their emotions with their hair and
in their face.
Then Information Society, InfoSoc as people called it.
I love.
We're from Minneapolis, and
yes. I love them.
So that's the concert I went to was Information Society. I can't remember who opened.
I love them. Oh, I hear the song right now. Do 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 do. Remember that? Pure Energy. Pure Energy. Yes. I love the Information Society. Oh my gosh. I didn't know they were Brits because all the good groups were from Britain.
They played a lot. I understood that they were from that area. That's where they musically were from anyway. Like that's where they, kind of.
That's good to know. I'm writing it down because you're making me want to go listen to that.
So while I was at that concert, about halfway through the concert, like they paused. The music's kind of going in the like the synthesizer and stuff's kind of going in the background. But they're kind of talking amongst it's like a hubbub going on stage, like a hubbub. Like these people are in at the back of the stage and they look like they're conversing, and then up on stage, excuse me, up on stage pops this short dude. I'm like, he looks familiar. It's Prince. Because Prince is from the Twin Cities,
yeah, that's right. I heard he would.
I guess
he would do a lot of things, right?
Like he would crash concerts. Like that was his thing. Apparently, like he would show up at these concerts and he would just hop on stage and just like. So I'm like, that was the first time I realized that Prince was like 5 feet tall. He was like a short guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But man, the guy could move and he could sing and he could, play the guitar, and it was just like he was electric to watch, And so of course the crowd's like going insane and that kind of stuff. And I was close to the front because it was information society. So like being up front was not like being up front at like an Iron Maiden concert, AC/DC or something like that. Like where that's like the prime. You're probably going to get crushed or something area, because everybody wants to be up there. So I'm standing. I'm literally like, and like Prince is like poof. He's like standing in front of me. I'm like, what?
Oh my gosh!
Like, are you kidding me?
That's funny.
I'm like, I was almost like Prince was there for me. I was like, hey, dude. Like, I was like trying to talk to him and stuff. I was like waving my hand, and
he had a deep voice, which was
big fan. Like
I was big Prince fan. I went to a lot.
Skinny ass white kid trying to get your attention. Just kind of, hey,
he was cool.
Apollonia's cool. Just like. I don't know. You say some dumb stuff when you're half drunk, too.
Yeah, you never know like what you're going to say. It's a funny thing. You think you're going to be all like wordy.
You're trying to impress somebody, like you're trying to be a fan, big super fan, just kind of like I know more than anybody here about you kind of thing. That's kind of how you want to come off. But yeah, anyway, it is what it is.
That's cute. That's real cute. Oh, Karen's playing information society. So you're going to have us going and download.
There you go.
I used to like that 80s kind of like whatever that was. What is it? They called it new wave and all that. I thought it was
new 80s, new wave.
Seemed like more innocent, which I know
Duran, and
and all of that stuff. It was cute, and I loved the B-52s. Rock
Boy
Lobster.
George.
Yes, we wanted to look like Boy George.
Wham.
Oh yeah, Wham. Spandau Ballet.
Spandau Ballet, that's right. There was.
I know this much.
Howard Jones and.
Oh yeah, Howard. Oh my gosh. Okay. I've had coffee.
Julie loves Howard Jones. She's like on her Pandora. She's got like a channel of Howard Jones.
So cute. Love it. That music, I don't know. It just seemed like it was more something just before it got totally dark. I don't know. Maybe it probably was all bad. I don't know.
Yeah, to me, it got dark at the end of the 80s into the 90s. Like the 90s were like the Middle Ages of music for me. There was like, everybody was just like whiny and like with Pearl Jam and all those other Nirvana and like they were all like whiny, like they wouldn't sing, they would whine the lyrics,
And then they were angry over in the gangster rap. I remember it was like F the police,
right?
God. And all the women, you're a F, you're a hoe, you're a B, you're a hoe. Oh my God, what the heck just happened? What happened to the love songs? Now you're a B, you're a hoe, you're a this, you're a that was the 90s, okay? So it went all to hell in a handbasket.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Screw the 90s. But anyway, so with that being said.
Okay, before I sing another Spandau Ballet song, let me get out of here, everybody, and eat some food. Mix it with the coffee. Why didn't you guys stop me? If I ever say I'm gonna go get some coffee,
I'm grabbing some coffee,
ask me not to do it, please. Everybody in the chat, can we make an agreement? If I ever get an idea like that, please stop me. Just stop. You don't understand. It's not a good idea.
What is this? Karen says it's music with just let you feel free to just start dumping the dancing and skipping free.
That's right. It just had a fun quality. Yeah. Oh well, we're gonna do some stuff back, like get back to a better place. That's what I'm excited about. We got to make our parallel.
Yep, and I think we're getting there. So, and that's I usually like to end with stuff like that too. Is like to stay positive and don't worry about all the fluff, the weird stuff that's happening. Be smart stock up with some stuff once in a while. You make sure you have food and that kind of thing, and
Mm-hmm.
learn some skills. But it's going to get better, and it's going to get better sooner than you think it is.
And this is how it has to be. When you think about it, how are you going to bring down that structure at Matrix?
And this isn't for us. For people like this isn't for us. This is for people that need the jolt. Need the everybody has a red line or a precipice, and they're hitting everyone. Like they're literally hitting every button for.
Yeah,
it'll hit somebody, at some point, and so. What's that phrase? We're going to keep fighting until you wake up, kind of thing. We're going to fight for you until you wake up, and that's kind of what's happening now. But but just know that it's just going to seem crazy for a little bit. That's all. That's just like Jen says, how it has to be. It has to be that way.
Yeah.
If it had been any other way, nobody would know all the stuff that's really going on, and people wouldn't be. Their eyes wouldn't be open to it. So it kind of had to happen this way.
Yeah.
And I know it sucks, but go find a stilt house and or some whatever, kayak down a river somewhere and just go barefoot, whatever. Just do
that.
something.
Hug a tree.
Happy.
Hug a tree.
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
I'm going to hug a tree.
Hug a tree and have a tree house. Right.
That's right.
Hug a tree. Ask the tree, can I build a tree house here? Say, thank you. I got my limbs here. Build a house. Wouldn't that be nice? Oh, I love it. I want a tree. I've always wanted a tree. Okay, let me stop.
Okay.
Another tangent. Okay, John.
All right, guys.
Happy trails.
Thank you.
Mercies. We love you. Everybody, thank you.
Love you too. Love you guys.
Thank you all. Okay, I'm gonna go get some food.
Okay.
Okay.
Have a wonderful evening, everybody.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
For real this time.
Bye, everybody. See ya.